Ricky. Ricky Tan. Get up, dog. Let's go. Come on. I've been looking for you everywhere. Let's go.
I'm busy at the moment.
Ricky, did you hear what I just said? I'm busy too now. Get on your feet. Get up. Get on your feet.
I know you. You are Lee's American friend, right?
No, I'm Lee's new muscle. And don't let this robe fool you. This is the only color they had left. Now I said get up. I ain't gonna say it again.
You Americans are so funny.
And you Asians don't hear that well. Little Ricky, get your little punk ass up out of that chair right now. Messing up my vacation. I told you to get up, didn't I?
We can all be some fighting motherfuckers in here this evening. Bring your ass, nigga. Bring it on. Come on. Bring your ass. Come on, get up and come on.
You out of your fucking mind?
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Come on, sucker. Let's get it on.
Of course, it's happened again. And it's just going to keep happening until someone puts a stop to it. One of the main problems with something like this is Black people believe that they're being done a service when this happens. Like somehow this is a gain for someone. I asked my niece some time ago, the news for The Little Mermaid, for example, that's been swirling around the drain for a long time before flushing. And when the news came out, I asked my niece, and she's like, well, it's about time. About time for what? This was not yours. And so all the stories we have, and particularly being Haitian, all the countless fairy tales we have in our culture, yes, we have them, including a virtually indestructible hero called Brise Montan. He's kind of like our Achilles. And if we had stopped co-opting different things, and as far as Black people collectively, if we had stopped co-opting other people's stories and making them ours, we would have exploited, in a positive sense, by the way, we would have exploited some of these stories that are in Haiti, for example, like Brise Montan. This dude shakes, he shakes the ground by stomping his foot down, like the character from The Inhumans. That's how strong he is. And with one machete strike, he can take down like several demons. And his name's Brise Montan, and it's a fairy tale from Haiti, right? His wife was stepping out on him. I think the song goes, Brise Montan, cher marin, I Brise, right? So his wife kept on stepping out on him, and every time she came back, he's like, where have you been? And apparently the wife's been going out there causing trouble, and she'd always come back with too much trouble, way more trouble than she can handle by herself, right? So she'd come back with all kinds of people following her, like, hey, baby, what's going on? And a lot of times those people would have powers. They'd be like demons. What Haitians call loup-garou is not the same thing as when the French say loup-garou, which is like a werewolf. With Haitians, it's an all-encompassing term for a demon, right? So the wife would come back with all these demons, and Brise Montan would just, put her behind him, get behind me, woman, and he'd shake the ground and pull out his machete, and with a mighty sweep, think of it as a gladius. It's kind of like a short sword, but they call it a cutlass or machete, and he would strike down all these villains. So we have that fairy tale. We have several other fairy tales, a lot of them, especially in the Caribbean. But you know what? Let's not cultivate our stuff. No, 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 no. Let's go around stealing other people's stuff. Let's go do that. Now the thing is, I'm not under any delusion that black people are behind the decision making for any of these things. We're not in Hollywood like that. In the chairs where these decisions are made, like we're not in these boardroom meetings. It's the left doing this. And once they do this, what they're expecting to happen is that black people will go along with it. Yay! Strike one for diversity. That's what they're hoping for. And they're expecting that black people don't see the trick bag, because what it is a trick bag. When you get in the spirit of things, there's something that I like to call getting in the spirit of. I like to call it that. For example, if uh, if somebody opens a door for you, right? Let's say there are two. You're going into some place like Walmart where there are two sets of doors, an exterior set of doors and then interior set of doors before you get to the main floor room. You open the door for one person, right? And then they're walking ahead. When they get to the second set of doors, they open the door for you in the spirit of. That's the quote here. In the spirit of reciprocity. They open the door for you and like, oh, thanks a lot, right? So in the spirit of complaining about things that happened a long time ago, and in the spirit of getting people not to make their own things and to make strides in their own community, they will give you this. They will give you this and get you in the spirit of not coming up with your own things. Now, usually, and of course, the name of this channel will tell it all, that the people who I'm directly addressing are my own people, black people. All are welcome, but I'm particularly addressing black people. We could have done a Lord of the Rings by now. The problem is we've relied on other people. And Lord of the Rings, for those of you who are unaware, they're being attacked. They've been getting attacked all year long, saying that orcs, J.R.R. Tolkien was secretly racist because he wanted to actually low-key call black people orcs. That's what's floating around out there. That's what's floating around through the machinations of imagined oppression. There's actual oppression in all places in the world. So we don't need extra imaginary oppression. J.R.R. Tolkien was not racist. They probably met, H.P. Lovecraft, which I'll cover in another topic. I didn't go to, but a buddy of mine went to film school. And it was one of those film schools where, and he's black too. It was one of those film schools where they have a very liberal security policy, where whenever I wanted to visit them, if I'm in the general neck of the woods, I'd pop in there, and I would go to the cafeteria and eat. That's my doorway. I go to the cafeteria first, buy some food, then I go upstairs to wherever my buddy is having classes. I might pop in, sit in back of the class, see what's going on, these sorts of things. Now, slight digression. The cafeteria sold what rice and let's say organic rice and free range chicken. Side note, guys, organic food is really small. So when you go shopping for produce and you see these monster sized carrots, they're not organic. All right. No matter what the label says on them, you're eating monster food. Real food is more sustaining and it's smaller. Paradoxically, it's more sustaining and smaller at the same time. So if you ever, had real fried chicken, like a real chicken, the drumsticks are really small, So anyhow, they would serve they would serve organic rice and free range chicken, and the plates would be something like $45 per plate. And it's like, what the hell, man? And even though I'm not in the school, they let us in there. Those of us who are just stopping by because that's the only way they make money in the cafeteria. The policy on paper is if you're not in the school, you can't come in here. But they can't make money any other way. They're not going to make it from the students. They're in film school. They don't have no more money left. Their parents mortgage their houses to send them to film school. How much money do you think they'll have left over after tuition that they would be buying $45 plates of meals? That's crazy. So we'd eat these meals and then, freaking gluten-free donuts and shit. And then we'd go upstairs and there I would sit there and watch my buddy go through. And by the way, we were filming since our teens. My buddy and I would be filming all these shorts. So he was way far advanced than anybody in that class. Anybody, like, you know, on par with the teachers, sometimes more than the teachers, to a point where 7 days into the course, my buddy was giving them tips and tricks like, no, why don't you try white balancing first and then blah, 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 blah. All these different things, but that's beside the point. My point in the story is after all this, all that money in film school, all that time learning all these tricks and trades and all these different things, in the end, see, our people, black people, we are stuck in a mental rut. We're stuck in a mental rut. And I'll bring some other examples of this later. And this will dovetail nicely with what I'm trying to say here, with these appropriation of these characters and why the liberal left thinks they can appease us with this bullshit. Okay? I'll get into that. So, with all the money spent on film school, then after that, you buy Photoshop. You can't, you're expected to buy Photoshop and Adobe Premiere and Sony Vegas, all these different things. Plus, you will be buying cameras like the one you're seeing here. You're going to buy all this. At the end of it, the Chinese students, they did really cool stuff. These people kept in touch. That's how I know what these different students, the differing pathways that they took in their film careers. The Chinese students were making stories about immigrants coming here starting with nothing and all these different things, and they would be filming these rich cultures. They would have their cameras out whenever it's year of whatever the hell they have with those dancing dragons out in the street, right? And they would film all that stuff in very, very cinematic, gorgeous, and lush cinema palette. Right, they have all these things and interviews with their grandmothers and their great grandmothers and their grand uncle who still practices kung fu even though he's 96. All these different things. It'd be awesome. And one of the white kids who came out of that school, what she did, she filmed a documentary on her family. After she left, she filmed a documentary on her family because there's a mathematical eeriness, some scary shit that happens in her family, dude. Every 1 or 2 generations, somebody, and it's always the same member of the same side of the family, commits suicide. Yeah, with the same kind of gun. It's eerie shit. So like 3 times in a row it happened. And so she wanted to get deep down into it. Maybe is there some sort of demon running through this family? So that stuff is intriguing. It's amazing. They spent that money and that money was well spent to go to they're not stuck in a mental rut. Okay? They explore things. Now, the problem that I had is that aside from my buddy, who he didn't follow the path I'm about to say, but aside from him, all the black students spent all that time learning all the methods and techniques in that school and spent all that money on the courses and tuition and all the equipment, being about $250,000 in debt so that they can go film rappers in hallways pointing their fingers at the camera like they're shooting guns. how many angles can you have in a hallway or a liquor store or wherever they are? Now, rest in peace to Pop Smoke. That's a clip from a Pop Smoke video. It's a classic example of the sort of things or the sorts of material that when my people came out of film school, being $250,000 in debt, that's the kind of stuff they invested their time and resources and energy in. We are stuck in a mental rut. And how that dovetails with what we're seeing here is because we're stuck in mental ruts like that. You mean to tell me, with all the myths that are floating around out here, did we need for Hollywood to be pandering to us like this? Giving us this? Oh, I forgot to actually drop the StreamYard link. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm being a terrible, terrible host. Give me a second. Terrible host. Let me pin that so people can come in. That's my beef with my people in this instance. Now, white people should be angry too. The thing is, we're in the wrong time. Hey, what's going on? Let me get done with my spiel, and then I could tap into you as a resource, man. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah. Let me. Oh, Greg Levito is here also. Let me finish my introduction, and then I could tap into you guys as resources. Yeah. You know,
Okay, no problem.
to get your input and all these different things. Hold on. Yeah. So white people should be angry too, but we're in the wrong time in terms of entertainment history for white people to be angry at anything. They don't have the right to be angry. See, they went through, what was it, Valkyrie? Now Valkyrie is a Norse type of character. A Valkyrie was the equivalent of angels, but for Norse mythology. They would be hanging around battlefields after the dead have fallen, and those who died heroic deaths would be plucked out by Valkyries to go take them to Valhalla and all these different things. Okay, and they're supposed to be blonde-haired, blue-eyed, tall, pale-skinned people, but they did what's called a stunt casting, and that's what all these things are. They're called it's something called stunt casting. Let me go into that really quickly and share with the audience what stunt casting is for those of you who are unfamiliar with the term. Give me 1 second. Let me share the screen here. Stunt casting is a term in casting that refers to the use of a gimmick or publicity stunt to fill a role in a television series, film, or theater production. Stunt casting can take many forms, ranging from a celebrity or famous non-actor cameo appearance to the use of an actor's real-life relatives to play the corresponding fictional character's relatives or younger or older versions of the same character. Purpose. Stunt casting is used to generate media attention. This is a crucial point. I am feeding, paradoxically, my doing this video itself feeds into the trick bag. It feeds into the trick bag because they were waiting for reactions like this. And it drums up interest, and then they assume that it will result in more people seeing the movie. It may also be employed in order to garner studio support or financing for a project. For example, according to DVD Featurette Commentary, the 1978 version of Superman received studio support after the producers were able to enlist A-list actors Marlon Brando and Gene Hackman to appear. I didn't know that. That's very interesting. And musical theater, blah, 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 blah. Now, this is called stunt casting, and I think it's been brought up to a whole other level, especially seeing that we have things like Gamergate, Fandom Menace, Comicsgate, which is, these terms are, it's some of the first time that you guys are hearing some of these terms. Michael Roper, welcome to the panel. Give me 1 second, let me finish up the spiel, and then you could you guys can go in. For a lot of you listening in, this is the first time you're hearing a lot of these terms, stuff like stunt casting and Comicsgate, Gamergate, all these different things, Fandom Menace. when I worked in some of these graphics firms and what do you call them, advertising firms, they would look on social media to see what happens, and then they would see how can we take advantage of this, how can we make this work for us. So when we have these movements online like Gamergate, which if you ask Gamergaters, I'm going by the points of view from the people who started the movements themselves. From the point of view of Gamergaters, they were fighting for the ethics in journalism, because a lot of the journalists were being unethical. They were giving each other favorable reviews. They were sleeping with one another for favors and all these different things. And then they were attacking the fans online. So these different movements are out there, and the controversy surrounding them generates interest. So these people here who are doing all the stunt casting, by doing this video, I know I'm feeding into it already. I'm part of the controversy generated by them. But it's just to keep a little bit of perspective where we know why they're doing this. They're not doing this because they like us. I'm not talking to the panel. I'm talking to the audience. They're not doing this because they like us. They're doing this, one, for stunt casting purposes, and two, a lot of times these guys come from a background of like liberal colleges where some professor has filled their heads with bell hooks and all these different ideologies, and they consider Western civilization, conservatives, Republicans, and all these different people, they consider them political enemies and political adversaries. And so they take something like that's a staple in pop culture, like Cinderella, Snow White, Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, and they weaponize it in order to stick a finger in the eye of their political opponent. There, you incels. So let me actually open the panel up. You guys can bring in your opinions. You don't necessarily have to agree with anything I've said. Jose, can we go with you first? What's going on?
I'm doing well, thank you. To be perfectly honest, I couldn't help thinking about this morning regarding the gentleman that was in the stream.
Yeah.
Mulatto.
Yeah, calling me a mulatto.
Though I actually gave the definition.
Well, I mean, he's one of these people who they're dedicated to being right, even when shown proof that they're wrong. So that's why.
So kind of like our friend Guillermo.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Denise did kind of like run intellectual circles around him, and he could not admit, like, okay, I'm out of my depths here, and he just kept on doubling down on the same points, even after she showed proof after proof, and he's doubling down. Yeah, I can see it. I can see the pattern. Greg Levitre, what's going on? You're muted. You muted yourself.
Hey there. Yeah,
hey, what's going on?
Get your monologue out of the way there. Very good monologue, by the way. Once again, I agree with you pretty much on all of it. I don't think any of us should really be angry about any of it anymore. I think we've been angry enough. And I think at this point, what we should be doing is laughing at these fucking ridiculous clowns who expect us to, adult human beings who are sane, to take them seriously when they make Snow White black. And I mean, yep. What's next? We're gonna have we're gonna have Tom Cruise playing Black Panther. Come on, man, clown.
Yeah.
Or maybe Snow White. Excuse me. Or maybe Snow White be a lesbian.
Right. Or let's make John Henry Asian while we're at it. Just for the fuck of it. Just because I'm a studio head and my nephew is Asian and he needs a gig. And I, he likes that story a lot, like I read it to him as a kid or something. So yeah, he gets the gig. So now we have an Asian John Henry, guys. So and you're a racist if that's not okay. We need to be laughing at these fucking idiots instead of feeding into it. Is how I feel about it. It's how can you take it seriously, man? All of this stuff, all of this shit. Female Thor, fuck out of here. You know, Thor's his name. It's not his title. You know, God of Thunder is like, let's say Jane, God of Thunder. Okay, you want to do it, Jane? That would be fine, right? That would work. Yeah. I mean, if it's well written, we could have a Jane Foster, Goddess of Thunder series or something if they did it right. But they're clowns.
Yeah,
they're fucking clowns.
Yeah.
No, we're not. This shit sucks. That's all it is.
Yeah,
we know it. We all know it. It doesn't work anymore. It doesn't trigger me. I saw Snow White was black, and my reaction was like, "They're fucking trolling us, man. This is a joke. They're trolling us." Come on.
Yeah, it is a troll, and yeah, they need to generate interest. So the more angry we get about this. Now the thing is, notice that my beef is not really with them. My beef is the people who are sucking this up, including members of my own family who not particularly about Snow White, but about Little Mermaid, because she liked Little Mermaid. And when I brought up, hey, they're having Haley Bailey or somebody play Little Mermaid, and she's like, oh, finally. I'm like, what do you mean, oh, finally? Like, this is not our stuff. If there was some sort of, and I'm pretty sure that there's a goddess of the water in our own culture that we can make movies out of. But because we've gotten in the spirit of waiting for someone else to do something for us. So we're waiting for someone else to give us a goddess of the water, which is what this spiritually, this is what this is. And because we're in the spirit of waiting for someone else to do for us, we don't do that story and then we'll get mad if someone else comes and takes that story, be like, oh, this is pretty great, an African goddess of the water, then we'll get mad like, hey, what are you doing, your culture? No, but you weren't doing anything with it because you spent your time allowing the idiots over at what Greg called those den of idiots appeasing their nieces and nephews. Oh, I want to be John Henry. You spent your time appeasing those guys, and so your stories went and remained untold. Whose fault is that? It's not their fault. It's not their fault. They're there to try to make money. They're gonna fail. This movie's gonna fail, just like the Anne Boleyn thing failed miserably. And I tried to watch the one of the first episodes of Anne Boleyn, and I could not. It's just immensely boring. They couldn't have picked a worse actress for this. She's horrible. She's a horrible actress. She looks good. She's real pretty, but she's not the phenotype that belongs in that role. That's a whole other person. But we're supposed to. Actually, I'm taking up time again. Paul Michael Roper. I'm sorry, I kind of like ate up into your time. Glad, man. You have the floor. You sure?
No. I'm patient. Seriously, long years of mixed martial arts and stuff. I've got patience in abundance. I have a 6-year-old nearly, so I've got a lot of patience.
Oh, we got an MMA. We got an MMA guy on the panel.
You're talking about the Anne Boleyn thing, and I'll just draw one real fun thing. And I mean, this is me being a comic fan here, and I'm a massive fan of Michael B. Jordan. I like him as an actor. I do. When they made him the Human Torch, it was for shock value. They wasted a good actor just for that Josh Trank film, which did not work. And that's all it is. It's shock value. You run all the way through everything that they're doing. They're trying to get your attention by going, Captain America's a Nazi. You spoke about that earlier, yesterday or today. I can't remember which one it is. And it was at a time when tensions like that, you know, with all the white supremacy and stuff, were going around there, and you're getting people burning comics for shock value. Yeah, actors in different roles, like, you know, a black Anne Boleyn. Fair enough. Okay. They did it with Rocky Horror Picture Show, where an actual transsexual played Frankenfurter and stuff like that.
Wow.
Great singer, great things like that. But how can I put it? You're basically poking an eye of every single person that's loved that type of thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Which isn't fair. I agree, you know, you need to step forward and maybe do something new and you know, do something like that. But don't just swap stuff around to annoy people so that they come and look at it and go, my God, that's nuts. Have a bit of class, you know. It's a long story on that one. I haven't got any beef with anybody over it. If they're a great actor or if they write a great story, I will sit, I will watch, I will read. But if you do it and you just want to get the shock out of people, that's it.
Yeah.
It's a cheap shot.
Yeah, and it's bad writing. By the way, speaking of speaking of Nazi Captain America, Nazi Cap, I found the search is over. I found the one guy who actually bought the book and liked it. He came on the panel. The search is over. Yeah. The one guy like across the country who liked it. He's like, yeah, I want to see a movie made out of it. I was like, no, you don't. You think you do, but you don't. But
wow,
Denise.
Unreal! You found someone who
I found the one guy. Look, he's been the unicorn because all throughout the time that series, I think it went for something ridiculous, like 12 issues of that. And all throughout that time, we were on Twitter like, who is reading this? Aside from people who are on YouTube and Instagram, on Twitter, who read it in order to roast it, like a roast review, who is reading this and liking it, turning the pages and going, where is this precious unicorn?
To elaborate on your question there, if you look, who are the people right now in the industry complaining about pirating?
Oh, yeah.
The mainstream people. Why? Because people go and they first check out the digital, like they'll pirate the digital to see if the book's even worth having. Is the art drawn on an adult level? Is the story written on an adult level? If it is, okay, I'll go buy it then. Yeah. And they're not selling that many, are they? What's that tell you?
They're not.
What's that tell you?
Mm-hmm. That's what they're doing. Denise, welcome to the panel. What's going on?
Hi, bro. What's up?
All right. How do you feel? And again, you. Oh, yeah. You can feel free to disagree. This is an open panel. You know how this channel does. You can feel free to disagree or agree with anyone on the panel in reference to anything that you've heard thus far. How do you feel about the stunt casting of these different roles? Like, for example, Snow White being played by, this looks like a Latina actress to me, but it seems to me like her last name is Zegler. So maybe she's Anglo, not Hispanic.
Bro, there's somebody has a feedback.
Somebody has feedback? Hold on. Maybe someone has an extra panel open. Maybe it was Jose. Jose probably had an extra panel open. You can unplug Jose. You can probably unplug your speaker and plug it back in or something like that. It'll probably get rid of it. But how do you feel about some of the stunt casting?
I always take the approach of mental health, but how to start this? I believe that one of the major issues that I have with this kind of stuff when it comes to casting is that we live in a society today where things are no longer earned. And if you think about it, it's more about fake identity. For example, the Black Little Mermaid. I understand, we're going through like a lot of changes when it comes to racism and, how you self-identify based on your race or your looks or your features and whatnot. However, this stuff is not something. The character earned a reputation being the way she was. It's not something that I believe it should be gifted to a person simply because now we're starting to quote unquote, because I don't believe completely in that, quote unquote, be more diverse in entertainment. So I believe, why then we have to slap on like a designated Black person into a character that was not Black to begin with?
Yeah.
What's gonna happen then with the red-headed girl that self-identify with Ariel? Then, if we're talking about how people identify with a character, so the reputation that she built up, if you think about it, now it's like we're gonna start from ground zero. And when that movie tanks, then they're gonna use the excuse, "Oh, you see what we do when we include the Blacks?" And nobody watches it. When in reality,
that's the trick bag. Yeah, that's the trick bag.
That's a great point. And here's the thing is, the thing I hate about the tokenization is what we are right now in character design. We're in a different era now, and special effects, right? Yep. So this is the opportunity to create new characters that are new and fully implement all of this, right? All of this new technology and the new design styles. So, if you look at it this way, this is the time to really create brand new black characters and any of these other types of characters. We all know that most characters were white back in the day. We know that, and I certainly am not going to sit here and deny it. And I don't see it as a problem today, because what we have the opportunity today is create these new innovative characters that are different. And then we can also still have those white characters that some people like, and that's what we're essentially doing in Brain Cage. We're not really setting out to be diverse and inclusive or anything like of the sort. It's just that when you develop a universe of characters, you want it to be diverse. You don't want the characters to all be the same. You want each to be different, stand out in their own way. It's always been this way in writing. It's always been this way in, like role-playing games, all of that stuff. You look at an adventuring party, you've got female elf healer chick, then you've got the big muscular, barbarian guy, as the tank and all this. It's always that way. And it's only because of the last 20 years of PsyOps that is even mentioned or even acknowledged. It's a no-brainer, right? So we basically are doing that. But what we're doing is we're using a new style of character design so that our comic book characters actually will look good on the screen as well. So in other words, more advanced design instead of golden and silver age characters. So they're really the mainstream in this tokenization. What they're really doing is they're giving up the best opportunity if they really wanted to do cool things for minorities and different groups that don't have their Superman and stuff. They are missing the fucking opportunity to do it genuinely and real, and then just taking away from what's already there. It's the only reason for it is PsyOps. There is no logical reason otherwise.
I think the reason for it is generally they don't want to do it, because like I said before, when we're gonna look closely at that box office when this movie premieres in theaters, okay? And we're gonna see that not a lot of people, because of all the mixed emotions and responses that we've had so far, and on top of that, they did not keep up the momentum of when Little Mermaid, for example, was announced. Right now, that has become stale, either for C-19 or something else. But if you think about it, the only momentum that it had when people were like, yeah, it's a black chick that's doing it, the only momentum that cast actually had was that hype. So now, how are we going to promote this from ground zero and actually make it translated into like big numbers into the box office? I do not see this happening. I see this movie tanking and being like criticized majorly. On top of that, let's not forget that also Disney lately in their live action movies is not doing very great, unless a few, because even Aladdin it tanked.
It's all crap.
Yeah. So it's like I said, people do not want to see this stuff. Yeah, it's trash. So basically, I would say I got upset when this happened as well, because I was like, what the hell? We're recycling these characters and now putting, and this is not the first time they do this to a redhead person that's a cartoon and it gets replaced with a black person. This is what's a costume. This is the rule of thumb usually when it comes to live action movies based on characters that were either a comic book or a cartoon. This is not the first time this has happened. So this is a practice for a reason. And those movies almost never do good. So in my personal opinion right now, what is happening is that this is a bad look actually on black people, especially black women in general. I'm going to say why, because basically what you're trying to say is that black women and black men in general are not sufficient to actually come up with anything on their own, and you want to portray them as culture vultures.
Yeah.
So basically, what's
cannibals.
Happening, what's happening right now is like, oh, do you know what? They cried so much now. Let's just gift them something. When
that's on purpose, right?
Yes,
that's on purpose.
It is on purpose.
They want that reaction.
Basically, right now, like instead of creating something for them, they're just actually giving them stuff like it's a gift. Like, oh, let's just, give them something, a little cookie so that they can stop crying. That's the look that's being portrayed as an ethnic image right now on black people in media. and it saddens me to see it happening because there's so much talent out there, but this practice is not actually helping the community. I think it's taking from the community. I wish more Black entertainers will wake up to this reality and stop taking these roles.
Yeah, they shouldn't have found one person. They should, like, that should have been the news. I keep saying this on all these other streams I've done about this particular kind of thing.
Yeah.
That should have been the news. Like, hey, we were looking for a Black actress to play Anne Boleyn. We couldn't find one. They all turned it. That should have been the news instead of,
Yeah.
oh, we have Sophie. Is it Sophie Turner or somebody playing her? And if you guys will allow me a moment, really quickly, so that I can. I know I'm gonna get a copyright claim for this, but I'm not doing this for any AdSense dollars or anything like that. So hold on one second here.
The charge is treason. How do you plead?
Not guilty.
My baby. Was it a boy?
You promised me sons.
Is it true he doesn't visit her chamber anymore?
You smell her. The world will know my innocence. Fear can be fuel. Let your fear drive you to be bigger, louder. The sky itself will not limit you.
I'd rather die than give up the fight, give up the fight, give up the fight, give up the fight.
Oh my God.
One of the reasons why this is. No, I'm sorry.
Let's say something real quick.
Yeah, go
How
ahead.
many times, how many of you guys are sick and tired of the Anne Boleyn story? I am.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I'm so fed up with Anne Boleyn. Like, I cannot take one more Anne Boleyn story. Like, we have so many shows with this bitch, and I know I should not. I'm so tired of this bitch. Can somebody let her rest in fucking peace? I'm so tired of her. Just
Excuse me,
talk about Jane Seymour for a change. If you want to talk about Henry VIII, come on. Go ahead, Jose.
When I'm thinking about all this, I'm thinking of a pacifier. You know, the thing that you give a baby when a baby is crying. See, in Puerto Ricans, we call it the bobo. So,
The bobo.
so
Cubans call it the choopy.
okay, so I'm thinking the reason why these people are doing this, so they can say, see, we're giving African Americans, we're giving melanated people a role. So here's your pacifier. So now shut up. Here's the bobo.
Yeah, not only that, let's not look, this is the same bullshit that happens when they give a franchise that was built for males to women. We saw it happening with Ocean's 12. We saw it happening with Ghostbusters. We've seen this shit happen over and over, and it always tanks. Why? Because you're not building rep for that character specifically to be either that gender or that phase or even that ethnic
Let's
group
break it
or
down.
race.
Let's break it down to what they do. They build these movies on the actor's name.
Yeah.
So, when a lot of times movies are even written for specific actors. Like this is a Tom Cruise movie, or this is a such and such Jackie Chan movie, right? So they build it around those guys, and then people go watch the movie because the marketing is around those actors that people like.
Definitely.
And then they make them successful on that, building on the actors. And then years down the road, they expect that you can just replace the exact thing that they marketed the whole thing on and build it on. You can just replace that, and now people are just going to like it the same. It's moronic, and they know it is, but that's what the psyops is about.
Yeah,
it's about pushing people wherever they want them, regardless of how illogical it is to go in that direction.
Because right now we live in a I call it the matrix, but we live so plugged to the matrix where people don't actually have to do very little effort right now to actually be granted stuff. We don't live in a society where people actually have to work for things, and that's not the culture we want to teach society in general. So basically, what's happening right now in media is like, if you cry enough, loud enough, we will give you something to pacify you. Kind of like what Jose said about the pacifier thing. That's what they did to the feminists. That's what they did now. They're doing now with Black people. And to be honest with you, it's pathetic. I don't enjoy it. I don't know anybody, neither of my family or my friends, that actually enjoys this crap. I
Yeah.
wish, if women want to get into film, do your own fucking film. Build up the public for that.
Earn
And
it.
it's coming from a woman, myself. I'm in sound engineering, and it's something that, even though, and like, my field is completely different, but to a degree it's not. The more we're seeing this kind of stuff being gifted rather than deserved or earned, the less the public can relate. And let's not forget that if you're in entertainment or in media, you have to understand that things have to be earned when it comes to the public. People are not just gonna wake up one day and say, "Oh, they replaced my favorite character from this shit. I'm gonna just embrace it because it's something I love." Of course, fucking not. Okay, it's not going to happen. How the world will feel if we make Wonder Woman tomorrow Wonder Man? Do you think it's going to have the same acceptance from the women's sector?
No.
It's not.
Just out of curiosity, who had the brilliant idea to make Anne Boleyn a nominated person?
I think it's basically the studio heads. They're looking for what did Paul call it before? Shock value. That's what they were looking for.
So basically, we have slow taps now in Hollywood.
Yeah, slow taps.
Well, let's break it down in business terms
Think
for
about it.
marketing.
Think
Okay,
about it.
so like in marketing, you either have to pay a lot of money to get your product in front of a whole bunch of people's eyes, or you pay to get it in front of a certain amount of people's eyes, and then they're going to get outraged, share videos. Like I got sucked into it for years, where I'd get pissed off about Star Wars. Like the new thing they did with Star Wars. I would share videos, talking about it. Well, people would, like normies in my friend list, would see it and go, "Oh, this looks like something my nephew would like. Thanks for sharing." And I'm like, "Well, I'm advertising for these fucktards.
Well, yep.
What's wrong with me? I'm a fucking tool." So I decided to stop being a cattle once I recognized that pattern and saw what was going on. That's what it's all about, guys. I really want to see everybody respond like this every time this shit comes up. Go, not today, Satan.
Pass. Yep.
Not today, Satan.
There's a problem with that. Protep, I think you know what I'm going to say.
You got it.
It makes too much sense.
Yep, that's true.
Every
very
time
true.
you say that, Jose, you crack me up.
Not today, Satan.
Paul,
you know
whatever
what?
it is you're drawing, if you feel like sharing, we're totally up for that. If you're doing some kind of doodle for, you know what I mean? This is the channel for it. What are you using? Copics? Oh, my God. That's not the gunny, right? That's the other guy.
That's mine. Yeah.
That's yours. Yeah.
Yeah.
What size you working with there? Is that 11 by 17s or?
11 by
Oh,
17. And that one's it's an A2, so that would be 17 by 22. It's
Listen,
the front cover.
It's the front cover.
so,
Okay.
Yeah.
Whenever you get a
got, like,
scan,
little
can you
previews.
please send us one? Please send us an image whenever you get a scan, so I can plaster it all over the screen here. Like whenever you get a scan of it.
I'm actually sat downstairs at the moment because my little boy's in bed.
Okay.
I'm going to go to sleep about 2-3 when I'm done here, and then I'm taking him to school for 7.
Cool.
I just really hate the job I'm in. This is why I'm working with this. This was actually pitched to Mark Silvestri at Top Cow in 2008. When I thought I was a superb artist. Destroyed me in 30 seconds at a studio party, and then built me back up over an hour. And then did the very unwise thing of giving an Englishman, former rugby league player, an open bar tab. Yeah. He was looking at me while he was staggering. I was like, Yeah, we used to do this every weekend.
Bro,
Oops.
check Mrs. H comment. Just check.
Oh, what did Mrs. H say? Hold on. The slow tubs can't draw. Yeah. Oh, they mad they can't draw. Yeah, that's true. These guys over here, they're actually talented. So the haters who usually come to this channel, they're not gonna have a good time. They're not gonna have a good time. That's why I saw Paul concentrating. I'm like that. Usually when I see that look on an artist's face, it's usually some hot shit. You know, they working on. So I was like, let us see. Yeah. He's in the zone. He's that Mushin.
I worked as a doorman, bouncer, whatever you want to class me as, and I didn't. How can I put it? With the amount of people that I've faced up and down the different martial arts and stuff like that, I've had people threaten to stab me, shoot me, you know. But in 3 years, I only had 4 fights, and I managed to talk my way out of the rest of them because I used a bit of sarcasm and putting people into a bit of a mindset instead of just thinking, I'm going to kick the bouncer's head in. And it's sort of like, no, you're not. And the worst thing about it is the guy that coached me for the Kyokushin when I was doing that, he actually coached Dolph Lundgren, and the lads that he coached in this country used to kick around George St. Pierre before he went to the UFC.
Oh wow!
So you know, I love him to bits. Bobak, he's my senpai. He's from Iran. I'm godparent to 3 of his children, and he's kicked my backside up and down this country. So you know, a lot of humility and a bit more. I don't really care. You can say what you like to me and stuff like that. It's sort of like, you know, you're a wanker. Well, yeah, the wife denies me regularly, so what? I've got past that stage, and to be fair, I want to teach my little boy more respect and more humility and stuff like that. He's coming up 6. I'd rather him have friends, you know, and just be nice and pleasant, and you know, it's a strange thing to want in this world, to be honest. So, you know, but you know, such is the way. But no. I don't mind people taking shots at me out where Gregory does regularly.
Yeah.
He's not saying anything.
Hey, if they're not taking shots at you, you're not doing something right. You know what I'm saying? So, like, yeah.
Picks on me regularly.
That's very true. Okay.
Actually, lately I haven't really had anything to complain about, dude. You're really, oh man, you're coming into your style. It's been impressive. Every piece that you've been sharing lately, we just stick in the work in progress in the Discord, and all the other creators and artists are like, oh man, that's sick. Boulder is coming along beautifully. There's some I wanted to talk about because, by the way, that since Brotep accidentally spilled this the last stream we were on, we have a John Henry character that we've been developing for about 2 months now, and I'm not going to go into detail yet. We don't have anything to reveal yet, professional designs, anything like that yet, but we've all been like really getting excited about this character and really like pitching in and building it. And what I was talking about earlier, I mentioned that when I was saying this is the opportunity to make like new, innovative, and cool characters, you know, for the modern age, right? That's what we're doing with that character. That's why I even brought up that topic, because we're already in that mindset where it's sort of like, if you're going to do like in this state, like in this period of time, like let's say 20 years ago, if I make a black character, it didn't matter, just another character. If you make a black character now, people are going to wonder, okay, is this tokenization? Is this SJW shit? Or is it based? You know, is it like based, which is pretty rare anymore, like anything that's kind of based. And, you know, what we're doing with it, I'm so excited about it. I think this character is going to be one of our best characters in that universe. It's because we're focusing on his story and making him unique and different and stand on his own instead of focusing on bullshit like trash marketing, outrage marketing, anything like that. And that's the kind of thing that stands the test of time and will gain legitimate interest, you know, and fans. It'll pick up legitimate, you know, community support because it's just a good character. And, you know, it's silly for anybody to think that comic book fans just want a bunch of white characters. We don't want the same character, period, whether it's a bunch of people in blue armor or a bunch of people in with the same type of power sword, or you know what I mean. We don't want the same anything. We want variation in all the characters, and we want them all to stand on their own.
And I imagine that even back then it wasn't the case. I mean, even if you look back at the time that Luke Cage came out, I mean that character it swept. You know what I mean? It blew everyone away. People loved it. In fact, Nicolas Cage, his last name is Ford Coppola, and he changed his name to Cage because he was such a huge fan of Luke Cage. You know, so these people are reinventing history, pretending that diversity exists now that they say it does. You know. But welcome, Dan, to the panel.
But I don't have a problem with them being diverse. My problem is do it in an efficient way. You know, don't be so fucking lazy and mediocre. That's my problem with the whole diversity thing. You can be diverse, but actually create something. Like, don't be lazy. That's my only problem with it.
You know, Dan, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. I think and I said this to somebody because one of my best friends, somebody said something to him. It was, shall we say, slightly offhand, and I kind of looked, and he turned around and he said to me, he says, "Don't worry about it." I says, "No, these are the type of people that turn around and go, I don't see colour." Right, you're part of the problem because you should see it and you should see the eloquence in it and actually the creativity of it. Okay? Look at everything as being so much different and actually be intrigued by it. Not turn around and go, well, you know, the old thing that I don't mean to be racist. Yes, you are. You're going to be. You're just going to say it. You've just done that to appease your own, you know, little self-conscience or something. It's just be creative. Be something different. I mean, there was loads of characters that were out in, I think it was the Wildstorm, I think Midnighter, and around the time people turned around, I think there was a petition online to get the Joker made homosexual. Okay, well, you've just negated all the storytelling that you had when he shot Barbara Gordon and raped her.
Not today, Devil.
With Harley Quinn, you know.
Not today, Devil.
Sorry?
Not today, Satan.
No. Yeah.
You know, I agree with you. If they're going to do something, actually put the effort into being, you know, creative if you are going to do it, and don't just have your story supported because you've used somebody of a different ethnicity or sexuality.
You know what else too? Think about this. This is part of the laziness. Every single black character has to have some gangsta hip hop theme music. So you look at all the other. You look at the other. For example, MCU was guilty of that, right? So you got Captain America and all these other ones have these like, you know, hero themes, right?
Epic
in the movie, in the movie trailer, right? So then you come out with the Black Panther trailer, and it's like, you know, what I'm saying?
Spotlight.
It's like yeah, smooth shit. This is a smooth superhero, you know. But they're in fucking Africa.
Try hard.
I know a lot of black people in Africa from different countries in Africa, and only one or two actually like any kind of hip hop or American culture. The rest are like, no, man, that is stupid trash. It's just trash. Keep it away. You keep it away from the children, you know, and they have nothing to do with it. Keep it away. It's just bad, you know. And they want nothing to do with the shit. But you see this supposed to be African. Now, I've seen a lot of different African culture, enough to look at the trailer for Black Panther when it came out and go, oh, this is Hollywood again doing their thing. Because it's generic tribal, you know, African-esque images like in the set design, and then a random Taiwan
that was weird.
Thrown in, and then
that was weird.
Yeah, and then to look more African, we got to have these huts. We got to have these like straw huts with like yaks being herded around. These dudes are out there chilling with yaks, and it's all stinky, and there's big turds everywhere. So it's like, you know, that's what they think. That's what they think Africa is.
Yep. I mean, the thing is, one of the I don't know who it was, but yes, somebody said, "Have you been to Africa?" I think someone on Twitter was like, "Have you been to Africa?" Like we got strip malls here. We got high-rise buildings. What are you showing? I don't know what it is you're showing. You know, but Dan, you've been pretty quiet. Welcome to the panel. Oh, you're muted, or maybe your mic's not plugged in, Dan. Oh my God, get it together, Dan.
Guys, I've been watching a channel. I've become addicted to a YouTube channel called Bald.
Bro Tap and the Negro Nerd. Oh, not all right.
There's that one too. Absolutely. I'm here about every day, so obviously I am. But no, this is the best conversation I've had on streams. I think it's been on this channel so far. A lot of different perspectives, and sometimes people get passionate and heated, but overall, mostly everybody is kind of agreeing without realizing it. Even sometimes, with different language.
What channel were you watching though?
Oh, okay. So it's Bald and Bankrupt. It's a British guy. His name is Ben something or other, and he travels to basically the most economically depressed regions in the world for tourism. Like one of the videos, this crazy fucker went to Bolivia, and he was told by people, "Don't go to that village because that's cartel. You'll get killed. They burn people up at the church." So what's he do? He decides, hey guys, let's go check out the church. Okay. So he walks into Cartel Village, confirmed Cartel Village, right?
Wow.
And a cartel enforcer rides up on a motorcycle, and you can see in this guy's eyes, he's like not wanting to be nice to Ben and not like be friendly because he's probably going to have to kill this guy. He's thinking, wow, this guy looks like an MI6 agent or something like that, And so if he doesn't know accents, he might think it's this guy CIA or something, right? So he's sitting there, and then he gets the phone call, and then after the phone call, he's all smiley, and you can tell okay, I'm not allowed to kill him. It'll bring attention, and it's all cool. But this is how it went down. They gave him 30 minutes to go up and check out the church.
Wow, that's ballsy. That's ballsy. You couldn't pay me enough.
His charisma score is maxed out, and he also seems to have some kind of hidden charisma buffs that he's not like showing, like maybe some kind of armor under his shirt that he hides that gives him charisma buffs. But he's really entertaining, and he goes to India. He goes to all these economically hurt countries. And what's beautiful, the reason I brought it up on this channel is because the things we talk about, he is showing the viewers. By showing them, like he's showing us how much everybody's alike in all these poor places around the world. Us poor people are the nicest people on the planet. We'll let you in our home and feed you. You know what I mean? And we're the ones suffering in the world. And I'm a big picture thinker. So when I get a bunch of data from a source, I'll see, is there any big picture data coming together from all of this that I'm getting? And, once again, this is a theme I've seen throughout my entire life anyways, but it's beautiful to watch that channel and see it in action. He goes there, and these people are they're really nice. Somebody tries to scam him, and he turns on his charisma. Hey, no thanks, mate. And he just keeps on walking, and they're like, okay, thank you. And he just Forrest Gumps through everything, and it's fun.
No, the thing is, when you mentioned that, it kind of that sounds like a really awesome channel to basically get a perspective on the world. Because when you mentioned that, even the poorest people, and I've witnessed that too as well from my culture, where you come there, whatever they're eating, some of it is yours when you come in there. Have a seat.
For real.
You know what I mean? That
it's real.
Kind of,
I'm alive
energy.
today because of that. I'm alive today because of that. There's been periods in my life where I was homeless and I only ate and had a place to sleep.
Scumbag Joel Osteen, or whatever his name is, would make people in the church come in there and pay tithes. People who are seeking shelter.
Yep.
You guys remember that story? The prosperity pastor who let those. Did I get kicked off my own stream?
You did.
Okay. No,
Joel Osteen got me.
You're here. Now you're here.
Brotep, can I just chime in on Brother Joel Osteen? I mean, when I look at him, when I look at him, I'm sorry, but he gives such a poor representation of the gospel. I mean, these people with this prosperity gospel crap. I mean, first of all, it seems to be two extremes. You have one extreme that says sickness comes from God, illness comes from God, death comes from God. So therefore, you need to sacrifice, offer it for the souls of purgatory. And then you got these yahoos like these prosperity gospel types saying, well, if you tithe, you're going to get $1 million or you're going to get whatever. It totally distorts the meaning of the gospel. And in a nutshell, all it is love for God and love for people. In a nutshell.
Well, if you want to know why there are Fruit Loops in all of these things that we love and hold sacred, it's because anytime scammers and hoe bags that have no talent find out that there's money in something, they come out of the woodwork and gravitate toward it and try to make it their own. And that's really at the heart of a lot of the SJW stuff. The reason why they have so many of these useful idiots fighting in their army all the time is because these useful idiots would not have a career otherwise if they didn't have that to fall back on. They have no talent. They don't have the dedication, and the networking skills and things like that to be able to develop significant professional level talent.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what it boils down to. Like the work that we're doing at Brink, once again, I guess it sounds like a plug, but I'm using this as an example. The work we do there, we're at it every single day, hours a day. It's our whole life. I got my first break yesterday. It was my girlfriend's birthday, so we went out and celebrated for a few hours, had some beers. But I haven't. First time I've went out and done anything in a month, and probably 3 months before that. We're at it every day, and those SJW types, they don't have that level of dedication. They want to. Everybody see. I don't know. In the U.S., there's also this mentality that anything can be. A lot of this stuff is get rich quick schemes. That's what they think. I think there's we're in a community called Comicsgate, and I think a lot of people came into there to launch these. They got kind of crappy books, or some of them are outright bad books, and I think that they thought it was going to be a get rich quick scheme. They could make it make 50 grand off of the the fact that they're fighting against SJWs. A lot of them are trying to cash in on that. Their books suck, so they do like $5 grand or something, which is not bad. That's still better than what they deserve because their book isn't professional level. It's just things like that. I see it in all the different entertainment industries where there's money and some kind of entrance that the little man can get into.
Mm-hmm.
What's really interesting too is back in the day. Do you all remember the Monday Night Wars, WCW versus WWF?
I don't think so.
You mean the wrestling? You mean wrestling like NWA versus WWF or WWE?
Yeah.
When they did the NWO and the Generation X era. Yeah, I remember that.
But one of the reasons that WCW did so well is Hulk Hogan. Basically, people would come to him about stories and all this type of stuff, and then he would ask, "And then what?" to make sure that the story was good. And that's what a lot of people aren't doing lately. They're not saying, "Oh, we're going to get a get rich quick scheme," and then they don't think past that. They just want to get their money and get out. And that sucks. That hurts us all. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
For real though, but back. I want to step back just a little bit back to the original topic here, and what I see here is there's a couple of things going into play. Once again, they're pitting the blacks and the Celts against each other for the same space, right?
Yes.
You're allowed to hang out, but only one of you.
Yeah.
And that's once again. I mean, this is a part of the Calvinists. The Calvinists that believed in this Anglo-Saxon Norman supremacy. It's not even Anglo-Saxon; it's Norman. That's another thing. And what we're seeing now is blaxploitation without the culture.
Yeah.
I
Zero gain in it.
for real, I would, you know, if they said, hey, you know, we got this new Blade movie, and or you know, you could go on YouTube and go watch Blackula, I would be less offended by Blackula. It would be more entertaining too, because that shit's funny. I don't care who you are.
Yeah,
you know,
Blackula's a man.
Yeah,
Dracula's soul, brother.
yeah, for real.
That's my dude.
Nowadays they probably make Blackula a female, or or make her or make it a Latino or something
They'll
like
just
that.
get Wanda Sykes. They'll get Wanda Sykes. She's Blackula. That's what they'll do. You know?
Yeah, but you know, she doesn't have to play the role she does in real life. I love her stand up. I'm just messing with her.
Yeah, she's pretty funny.
She's pretty funny. I liked her before the wokey crowd really kicked in.
The thing is, you know, one of the other tragedies in this is that they erase black voices too, because a lot of us who are black, we enjoy, like, I don't want a recast Captain America. I like Steve Rogers. That's my dude. That's who, you know, that's who I grew up watching or reading rather. And, you know, everything he stands for, I don't have to share his skin color to share his values. You know what I mean? You know, Professor X, with how warm he is, and kind of like a fatherly figure to all of these lost children. You don't need to share his skin color to, you know, look up to Professor X. You know what I mean? But when black people are on Twitter and we emote these sorts of sentiments, they're like, nah, you don't exist. Just like they did with Gamergate too. At one point, you know, people in Gamergate were like, hey, can you not use us? And this was trans, gay people, all these different groups were like, hey, can you not, women, gays, and even some feminists who are similar in thought to, I forgot what the lady's name. She's older now, but she's the factual feminist. I forgot her name. But, you know, similar in thought to her, like women have to do for themselves, et cetera, et cetera. We all came out and be like, look, we don't agree with what's been going on in the gaming industry. Can you not use us as a shield so that you poke the eyes of your political enemies? You know, that's not cool. And they're like, well, you're suffering from internalized oppression. And there you have it. You know, you can't speak out against something if you're the wrong color. They've brought back segregation. It's Jim Crow 2.0.
Well, and you know what's really funny is that, you know, these guys, they forget that these liberal blue states, you know, that and I use liberal in like quotations upon quotations upon quotations, you know, that like California, they were some of the last to get rid of their Jim Crow laws. Like the South cleaned up their act before New York and California.
Some places.
We're talking like some ignorant motherfuckers.
Whose batteries? Somebody's battery is dying. I keep hearing doo-doo. Someone's battery is on. Is that you? Jose, plug that in, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought I had headphones on, so I turned to you. But
no, that's fine. I'm more concerned about your battery life. You need to plug that in.
Actually, it is plugged in.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, but one of the other things that I'm concerned about, again, I have to reiterate it because for people who came in late to the stream, is that once we allow people, and I'm talking to my people here, you know, black people, once we allow these libs to give you these little carrots, right? Okay, here you get what's the guy's name? Neil Gaiman's character, you know, story Sandman. Death in it will be played by this actress here. Okay, that's you know, I don't like the choice, and nobody, to my knowledge, likes the choice. That's what you want to go with, Hollywood? Go ahead and do you. But black people, I'm imploring you, don't support this. This is a trick bag. Once you support this, they will turn around and do the same thing to you. That's one thing. And when you support this, you deny yourself the opportunity to get real, genuine representation from your own cultural icons and cultural stories. There's literal, because they're talking about all kinds of, you know, Black Hercules, Black Thor, and these sorts of things. Why do that? You literally have orishas in West African mythology that's untapped right now. No one's using them. No one is
For
doing
real.
anything with Shango, Oya. No one's doing anything with them. And you're sitting here allowing the people who are in charge of this thing to give you these little nuggets from their table. Like here you can have some Snow White here, have some Little Mermaid there, Ariel. You can have this one really hurt because as far as Starfire, I'm not a huge fan into the mythos of the Titans, the Teen Titans, but I always visually enjoy the characters, especially when drawn by George Perez. I always enjoy the characters, and having this sort of representation that doesn't do anyone any favors. This did not do the actress any favors. Everyone made fun of her, including black people. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I just want to interject
that's fine,
real
go
quick. That
Mhm.
in her original design, when she was designed, she was based off of Puerto Rican.
Yeah. So
you know, like that Caribbean Mesoamerican woman, you know, she had she had gorgeous cheekbones and all this stuff. And there's a reason why she was done like that. And that was like, you know, it was a proxy alien represent. See, not all aliens are honkies, you know, kind of deal. You know, and I really, really loved it. I want to bring up something really quick from the chat.
Yeah, no problem.
Blood Moon there goes, if the characters are white and created by white people, it should remain the same. Other races should make their own stuff and include their own. And I got to say, hail, brother, on that.
Well, I think that's a she. You misgendered her, Greg.
Oh, well, you know.
Is it Greg or Tank Ferret?
It's Tank. I'm a bastard.
Tank, you misgendered her.
I
Cancellation
unapologetically
is
apologize.
pending. Cancellation's pending.
Right, I unapologetically apologize. That's what you're supposed to do on Twitter.
Right.
But
then you get canceled anyway. You get canceled anyway.
For real.
You know,
like,
but yeah. Absolutely, she's absolutely right.
What DC did with Milestone was a travesty. Dude, I love Hardwire. Like my friends and I, you know, I grew up in a predominantly Asian neighborhood. And like all my friends and I, we're drawing Hardwire beating the crap out of Iron Man. You know, we're having that talk. Like who's gonna fight? We're drawing Icon and Superman tag teaming on Darkseid because like these are the icons that we like. You know, like Icon. Come on now, that name, right?
That name itself. I can't. First of all, I can't believe they got away with the trademark and copyright. You know, but they did. You know, somehow they thought of it first, or whatever the case may be, and that's an amazing character. Icon is so unexplored.
Dude, he is no bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I love. He's a leader. He's like Batman and Superman. You know, it's like these great characters. You can draw comparisons. You know, correlative comparisons from other characters. But you know, when you're while you're trying to explain it, but you know, you're putting in all these mix, and it's like, yeah, this is an original character. I love that character. I read the hell of it. Larry Strawman was my man when I was a kid. Oh God, you know,
he gets it in.
He's sadly he's gone over and sided with the Wokies, and it broke my heart. I mean, he always was.
That's all for looks, man. That's all for looks, Tank. He there's no way he wholeheartedly sides with them. It's just a lot of these people. I don't blame them anymore because we don't know the hardships they're going through, where they have to protect their careers to pay their mortgage, their rent, their kids' tuition, their this and that and the third. So I can't really cast aspersions on them for deciding, okay, I'm gonna denounce Comicsgate today. I'm gonna denounce Gamergate too, even though that movement's been dead since 2015. I'm gonna denounce all these different, you know, woke movements, Fandom Menace, right? I don't blame them anymore, because these people go after, they go for the jugular. Look at what's happening with Warren Ellis. Warren Ellis is being canceled for being a player, a playboy. Back in the day, that's what we used to call a playboy or a player. You know, it's not the best thing, but if you can get many women, right, and you got that gift of gab, which he seems like he does. He's not necessarily the best looker. He's not exactly Chris Evans, but it seems like he's got a good mouthpiece, and the women fell for it, and they're accusing him right now. They built a whole website. For those of you who are listening in, there's a novelist and comic book creator right now called Warren Ellis, and about five. Whose dog is back there?
Sorry about that. That's mine.
No, it's cool.
Maybe so. Yeah, as I was thinking, who let the dogs out?
But yeah, with Warren Ellis, he about maybe 5 or 10 years ago, probably even more, going back like 15, he was dating groupies. Basically, if you were in the comic conventions at that time, and you were a big name, you were basically Brad Pitt. You were Matthew McConaughey. You know, to these women who were trying to get into the industry, and you know, they were trying to sleep their way up. So both sides of this thing, he was using you, you were using him. That's the interplay that was at work there. But now, after everyone gets to take part in complaint culture now, and you get to go back 15, 20, 30 years, hey, you brought your elbow brushed my tits at a New Year's Eve party, give me money, or you're canceled. Now that's the culture. That's the culture, and Warren Ellis is therefore canceled. These people have gone insane with this culture. You know what I mean? But I'm taking up too much time from
you're
from
good,
the panelists. Let me ask.
Point, so you're not taking too much time up at all, because it is true. It's literally, if you know somebody doesn't like something, let's cancel it. Let's find a reason for a tweet they did 10 years ago, or a picture that they liked, and
yeah,
it's racist, sexist, blah 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 blah. And one thing I'm going to say where Tank was concerned, you know, when you were talking about characters, how many great characters are written and then they just brush them off to the side and literally stick with what they got.
Yep.
There's been that many Batman films, it's become annoying. Just, you know, stick with it and start with a continuity, yeah, and then branch off into other characters, make them more of a focal point. There are, what, how long's DC been going? I think 1927 or something that Batman came out, or
long time.
yeah. So you've nearly 100 years worth of stories that you can actually go back to and go, that might work, but no, we'll just do the same characters over and over and over again, and there's no creativity. And one thing which I will turn around and say, the James Bond part where they wanted Idris Elba for it.
Yeah,
you remember that? When they were going, oh, Idris Elba will be a great James Bond. I turned around and I said to all the people that looked at me, I went, no, you won't. It's a white boy click part. It's one of those old-fashioned, you know, gentlemen's club. We don't, you know, no. We don't have we don't have them in here. You know, we don't. Idris could have been best Shakespearean actor possible, but as soon as you said, I want him for James Bond, that was it. Terrible.
Yeah.
You were changing culture and society. It doesn't matter how many times you do it on other things, but those you know, simple racially intentful parts, yeah, they've got to still keep that. And if you notice, Bond hasn't been getting as much, shall we say, action, because let's be perfectly honest, if you went back to the films of like when Sean Connery was James Bond, you know, in my opinion, the ultimate James Bond. Right now,
rest in peace,
modern age, he's a sex pest. He's not going into work to CM. He's going into CHR, and the next thing is CHR. You know what I mean? That's it. That is the sum total of what it's come to now. You know.
Be
we
careful.
have to remember that he's being replaced. He's being replaced by this actress here. I don't know if this will come up finally.
Yeah, but the explanation is that 007 is just the agent's number. It doesn't mean it's the person. That's the explanation. And already.
So we're gonna have a James Bond. Jane Bond.
Yeah, but even then, okay, if they have a Jane Bond, that's kind of hokey. That's contrived. You know what I mean? Unless, do they mean? I'm wondering something over there in the UK. You're in the UK, right, Paul? So is like James the same thing for like John, like some generic term or something like that? So James Bond would be like John Smith somewhere. Is that?
It's kind of it's a rough thing. James Bond, you know, James is a common name, and so is John. But it's I don't
because
know.
I'm trying to understand why they think these things are interchangeable. Like you could just switch out like a historically established character who's
Like they're
coming from,
Bionicle
I
or
think, from
something
the land
like
of
that.
gentry. Oh, I'm sorry, somebody else was saying something.
It says
Tank,
like
was that you?
they're Bionicle or something.
Yeah,
You know, like
exactly.
you just swap out the parts.
Like
and
you
it's
swap out
look,
parts.
It's the same thing.
He's like, I think James Bond is from like the land of gentry and stuff like that, where, you know, long history where he's got ancestors going back in, what is it, Scotland or Ireland or something like that, and then he was
Scotland.
a soldier in the recent iterations. I'm sorry, again.
Yeah, it was Scotland because of Skyfall. They had a what was it? It was a long family name, and obviously it was left to the winds of time. That way they could sort of cast out his identity, and then he could become 007. And to be fair, that was actually a bit better writing. They gave some plausibility to his background and why he was like he was. Quantum of Solace was the best anaesthetic I think anybody has ever watched, because that I was asleep 20 minutes in. But Daniel Craig is actually quite a good James Bond. He's not Sean Connery. I'm sorry, I'm an old, I'm a Sean Connery.
No, Sean's the OG. Like, yeah.
But really, there's only one Bond.
There's only one Bond, dear. Oh, rest in peace to him, man.
No, but he had that presence on film. He had that kind of attitude. Yes, don't agree with some of the stuff that Bond, got away with, because my missus does mixed martial arts with me, and I lose every argument. I don't care. I knew it was love. She choked me out after the first, the first 6 months together. So, at least she didn't have to bury me.
Yeah.
But it's the thing about it is, Bond had a certain way and a certain class. I mean, obviously nowadays doesn't wash. He'd be arrested. He'd be up on sexual harassment charges, and
Yep. Hashtag me too.
Well, yeah, no, but that's the next one I'm waiting for. He has to seduce a male spy. I'm waiting for that one to come in, because that would be the next bit of outrage.
Yeah, I thought Henry Cavill would make the perfect Bond. He's got the physicality there for to take the role over for Daniel Craig, and he's classically chiseled, like his face and stuff like that, where he's a leading man of the cinematic ilk and variety, and his reputation has not been the same. I don't know if anyone noticed this, that his reputation's never been the same since he came out against the hashtag Me Too movement. When a while back, maybe like 7 or so years ago, they asked him in an interview, does he date anymore? He's like, I don't date that much anymore. I go back out with exes, believe it or not, because I believe that romance is chivalrous, and you have to chase the woman, send her flowers, these sorts of things and whatever. Nowadays, if you pursue a woman after she gives you a playful no, and if you misinterpret it, then suddenly you're a proto-rapist, you're all these different things. When he said that, yeah, he's been the black sheep of the celebrity circuit ever since then. And the YouTuber Grace Randolph, she has low-key hatred towards Henry Cavill. Now, I believe that's why that is. It's just my personal opinion, because she was really pro-Cavill before. Then after he said that, she's had like some sort of animus against him, and many people who have come out against like particular movements like Oscar So White, hashtag Me Too, all these different hashtagtivist movements. The people who have come out against those movements, Grace seems to go against those people. Like, they can't act. They've got poor bedside manner. I had an interview with them. All these different things. And she's. I'm sorry. Someone else was going to say something. Go ahead. No, that's fine. Go ahead.
The thing about it is, I agree with you with the thing with Henry Cavill. Definitely on the James Bond thing, because he played Napoleon Solo, didn't he, in that awful Man from U.N.C.L.E. film with Armie Hammer. But
it was still enjoyable because of him. I still enjoyed it.
He was essentially James Bond in that.
Yep.
Because he got that cheeky chappy type thing going, a little bit Sean Connery-ish in certain cases, and and he keep referring to him that. But yeah, I agree. If somebody makes a valid point, and they turn around and go, well, no, because of this. And it's a valid point. People can't handle a valid point.
Yeah, that's
they
true.
can't handle it anymore. So instantly, well, I don't know. He's 2 inches shorter than Superman should be. So let's cancel him for that. They make up some crap. It's not. It's. I agree with you on that one. Certain people make valid points, so they get shot down for it, and that's why they probably troll back all through Twitter and Facebook or whatever else social media they've got, just to see what they can pull them up on. Which, it's just
pretty much.
It's horseshit. It really is.
I'm sorry, God. Somebody was saying something else.
Yeah, like because of all this shit, I was nervous about getting like fucking reactivating a Twitter because of how everything goes after you these days. I was like, do I really have to? It's like, yeah, you need some type of social media presence. I was like, shit.
You know, one of the reasons why people like him and who else is out there standing up for themselves? People like Chris Pratt, who stood up for his religion, whatever the denomination of Christianity may be that he ascribes to. He was lambasted for that. One of the things about the people that are being chastised like this, one of the aspects of it is striking down masculinity. Henry Cavill, he kind of exudes he exudes alpha. So you see it in most of the characters he plays, where he's kind of like a strong, stoic type, unless he's doing something cheeky, and he brings that aspect to it as well. A lot of people, they can't deal with that. When someone has a traditionalist energy, they can't deal with it, so they nitpick, like you were saying, Paul. Like, oh, maybe he's 2 inches too short to play. Maybe he's too concerned. One of the things they said about him playing The Witcher, which I'll come to that in a minute, with the stunt casting done in that. And one of the things about The Witcher is he made a test footage by himself and maybe an assistant, and people went nuts. But the people on Twitter, those people who are after, the cancellation, they were like, well, he's too concerned with being a pretty boy to really play this character. Look how he's not even drinking very well from the flask. I was like, so how low are you sinking that this guy is talking directly to the fans? This was not done for the companies. It wasn't done for any firms or any agencies. This was him getting in touch with the fans. We were like, when we heard he was up for the role, we were like, yes, Henry Cavill. Yeah, dog. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. And he was like, yeah, I would really like this role. And he actually made a few videos of him doing that. And instead of applauding, like, yes, this is how it should be, where you have a celebrity or an actor seeing who the customer is, seeing what their tastes are, seeing what the actual market is for my wares. And he's saying, yes, I got you, fam. Let's do this. You choose little nitpicks in order to tear this man down. Like, well, how is he drinking from the flask? And this came from Joyce Randolph as well, and some people on her periphery. This came from that camp, where they can't stand when someone stands on their square, like how they did with Gina Carano, which I don't know if she's ever coming back to Cara Dune. I was going to call her Paula Dune, Cara Dune, but. Hold on, let me actually bring. She's probably canceled for life, right? Because she's in a movie studio with Ben Shapiro, I believe, the Daily Wire, Daily something. They have a studio now. You know what I mean? But we don't know what her fate is now. What do you think of all this, Dan?
What do I think about it? To me, I'm kind of unplugged for everything from Hollywood and all that. Just reading about Hollywood, because to me, it's just all a shit show. I mean, let it burn. That's my whole philosophy.
And the other thing is, I mean, I'd like to address my people here for a quick second. The best response to anything like this, and let's be honest here, the movies are not going to be that good. I mean, Deadpool 2 with Domino in it, it barely held my attention. They tried to do too much to it, with the film. But, when they do stunt casting like this, like Thor Ragnarok, she was the worst part of it.
Yeah.
She could have been a different character. But what's wrong with getting, I don't know, well, actually, at the time they did Thor Ragnarok, was Harley Quinn cast as was Margot Robbie cast as Harley Quinn yet? Anyone remember?
I have no idea.
Neither do I.
Yeah, because she would have been perfect for Valkyrie. Why not get her for Valkyrie? But
sorry, I don't like Margot Robbie, so I'm going to disagree.
Oh, you don't like her?
Same. Yeah.
Who would you cast?
I'm sorry. I watched the first Suicide Squad movie, and if you didn't have the Fresh Prince of Deadshot and her ass on screen, you weren't watching the film. There was no story. It was just Margot Robbie's ass in shorts, which then I saw at every convention, all shapes and sizes. I got sick of that outfit.
I'll be honest.
It a pumped up, sweary Fresh Prince of Bel-Air that Will Smith was playing, with all those other characters that had scope.
I'll be honest. She repulses me.
Damn.
You know, she really does. I mean, you know, first time I saw her, I'm like, yeah, she's a good looking woman. And then I start seeing how she's marketing herself and her character. Yeah. Like, for example, her profile pic for a long time was this greased down, like she's oiled from head to toe, barely wearing anything, and she's laying so that her feet were right up in the camera in the foreground. And I'm not a foot fetish guy. I'm grossed out by foot fetish stuff and feet. And she did that, and that's just one of the many images that she did where I was like, skank. This is the kind of chick that you're at a party or something, and there's this chick that's pretty good looking, but she's already fucked like 5 guys in the other room, and so she smells like semen. And you're grossed.
Oh my goodness!
And you're grossed out by her. You're like, "Ooh, get away!" Like, you know. And then you see a few simps who are like, "Oh man, she's hot. I'm going to try and get some of that." I'm like, you don't have to try, bro. Get in line.
Get in line. Get in line.
I don't sit and eat after people. I don't eat and drink after people. I'm certainly not going to. Gross.
Oh boy, talking about slut du jour.
Seriously, it's gross to me. It's because I have some experience. Like when I was a teenage boy, I'd be like, "Oh fuck yeah, smash, smash, man, smash." But you know, I've been with hoes like that, like over the years. You know what I mean? Like they're not fun and games. Like maybe for a day or two, if you're lucky, you get some fun. A lot of times you don't get any fun. You know.
Hold on. Blood Moon says, "I love Tessa as Valkyrie." No, Blood Moon, no.
Love her as anything.
You know, like, look, Tessa. I mean, she's a great looking actress, but she's not. You know, she's not Valkyrie. She could have been anything else. Like, I don't know why they did that stunt casting.
I don't like anything about her, honestly. Her
Tessa?
attitude, it's
she's
disgusting.
got kind of an attitude problem.
She really does, and she's a hater type, as the term goes, hater. She's the exact definition of that type of person. She's like, she's very spiteful. When she's given voice, it's not to try to lift up anyone or try to like promote herself or anything like that. It's to tear down people of specific demographics, and I don't like that. I'm not going to jump the gun and say she's a racist. That word's thrown around way too much. Yeah. I'm gonna say she's a cunt. She's a cunt.
I'll raise you one. I'll say a
she's really awful. She says awful. I mean, I
she's
think
not likable.
Yeah, she's not a likable person.
She's the Black Brie Larson.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention Brie Larson with all the stuff that she was saying on social media, and the reason why. I mean, I don't know how Captain Marvel escaped the flop bin, but apparently it escaped the flop bin. Oh, you know how?
Fraud.
The cat.
It's fraud.
It was all down to the cat. That's it.
Disney
no
was
entertaining thing in it.
Disney was busted several times with many different frauds, both in in their marketing and advertising, and what they were doing, paying Access Media to deliver outright lies about the industry and all that, and about the movie, and about people who didn't like the movie. People who were really just blowing back at the nasty shit Brie Larson spit at like 55% of the fans, and which is natural. You're going to have to expect it. I mean, if you're an adult, sane human being who has some life experience, you're expecting, if you say some dickhead shit like that, call out entire demographics of people, then you're going to get blowback. But no, these people are immune from the adult world, the consequences of the adult world, they believe, and they use their money and influence to ensure that they are, and it doesn't work long term. This is a joke. These people are going to be some of the biggest jokes in the entire history of entertainment.
Yeah.
You know, whereas like Charlie Chaplin will stand out as one of the great geniuses in film history. These people will be side notes of the weird era during the early 2000s, where, you know, like a bunch of corporate interest completely went haywire and was pushing psyops. If we survive Agenda 2030 and we have a future, that is, then
I hope we do, Greg.
I want to address I want to address a comment that Blonde Moon said. She said, "I think most of the movie viewers are not comic fans, and unless it's a popular character, they don't care about the actor who portrays the role." I disagree with you on that one, Blonde Moon, because if you look, for example, the boys were already bringing up Brie Larson and Captain Marvel, and I even struggled to went to the theater to watch that movie because in reality, I'm gonna say something. As women, we are not actually the comic book fans. Okay, these are dudes. Okay, so at the end of the day, if you don't like the circle you're in, get the fuck out. It's that simple.
Yep.
But you're catering, that's the customer. The customer are males. So for you to say, "Oh, my movie is for women," I'm like, how many women actually watch this in large numbers that can generate billions of dollars that they invested in you? I'm not sure, because as a woman, I went to support the film because I wanted to gather the information for actually the Endgame movie that I was interested in watching, and I fell asleep. So to be honest with you, if you were to like cater to women too much into this MCU and the DCU and all this stuff, like literally you're gonna just again put that in the toilet, put the whole thing in the toilet, because it's men who actually watch this. Is something that males like to do mostly. Like the majority of the public that watches this is males. Why we want to take that from them now, I do not understand, but probably it's also this whole movement of like, gender fights and how we're fighting over power right now, and we want to do things the same way men do it, and we're empowered and blah 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 blah. So at the end of the day, we have to understand this is a male thing. This is the male's world. When it comes to comic book, at the end of the day, yeah, we want to share for the woman, and who doesn't love to see a woman in a position of power, of course. But it goes back to what we were saying at the beginning. Things have to be fucking earned. And to be honest with you, this is something that men built. If you look back at the previous movies, back when even my parents were young, only Catwoman was around as a woman representation and Wonder Woman. And those movies stopped being made for a reason. So now when we're seeing that Thor is now going to be, with Valkyrie, and she's the leader of Asgard, and now we have Captain Marvel, and we have now, what's this other bitch? Oh my god, I forgot her name. Anyway, another one of these ladies. I'm like, I get that, but you don't have the public that will actually generate the money that they're investing in making these films. So at the end of the day, if Disney wants to continue to invest in the MCU, how sustainable it is that we keep doing this and trashing things that males actually watch and enjoy. I don't think this is a very profitable type of.
It's a great point. It's really a great point. You mind if I elaborate?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think in the past, like let's say the 80s, which that was the height of nerddom before corporations completely started their shit, right? So in the 80s, we had the real nerd stuff, and most of us nerds were looked down on by certain demographics of people, different individuals, whatever, as being into this stuff, right? So that's where kind of the man's thing comes from. But we never wanted to be a sausage party. We didn't want to just be a bunch of white people or a bunch of men. It was always inclusive. It's a joke that these fucktards come out and try to, like Bob said earlier, rewrite history, because everybody was invited. Now, here's the thing. As a writer myself and a creative developer, and I think a pretty decent business model developer, I think, I look at it like this. It's totally, and also as a fan, I look at it like it's cool if there is stuff for the ladies. And there is stuff for different ethnic groups, for anyone, gay people, nobody cares about. Nobody's ever had an issue with that, really, for the most part, except for some trolls and maybe like a few legit racists of different demographics, right? Whatever, but nobody's really cared. So it just comes down to we just need to keep saying "Not today, Satan." I'm not even Christian or even religious, but I just keep hearing that phrase in my head every time. All these topics, we just got to be like, the fucking loonies are at it again. Let's just ignore them.
Yep.
You know,
if you think about it, it's all gonna come down to we're gonna have to collectively learn how to actually demand stuff by not putting our dollars into it, and just
that's
stop
been
investing
happening
into it.
actually.
Yeah,
They've
just
had to
let it
lie.
go.
Some of that fraud I mentioned earlier about the Captain Marvel, the whole Captain Marvel thing was part of the fraud was lying about the profits that they were making. They were literally using their connects in government to force sales onto the library system, shit that they weren't able to sell onto the library system. And then they turned around and was like, we sold this much amount.
Yeah, I remember that.
They also literally
The scumbag
spent money. They also literally spent money. No, I'm sorry, they didn't spend money. Brie Larson herself ran, was it a Patreon or a Kickstarter or something,
Yeah.
to raise money to
Mhm.
get to
buy tickets
for them to
for some
purchase a
kids.
whole bunch of tickets and rent buses for just girls only of
Yeah.
certain age groups to go and see the movie. And then they added that into, all of the amount of people going. They like the ticket sales, like they're
Yep.
counting.
Let me tell you something. As a woman that was once extremely masculine myself, I did not enjoy that movie. Okay, I did not. I went to watch it, like I said, because it was a component of Endgame. If it wasn't for that, I would have never paid a single dollar to go watch that movie. That movie was trash.
Yeah.
Come on now, let's be realistic. Same
Yeah.
goes for even Wonder Woman. I'm sorry, but it was trash.
Yeah, real bad. Both of them.
Both.
Oh.
Even the second was even utter trash.
The second one was so bad, people couldn't deny it this time around. Like the first time, I was one of the only people saying, fucking, this movie's ass, guys. This is more of the same trash. It was, oh, but it's great. She's the best. Oh, she's our hero right now.
No, she's not. Her acting sucked. Her fighting skills were weak as hell. The action sequels were trash. This movie was utter trash. I've yet to see a woman superhero that actually puts in the work. I would rather have somebody that's willing to work hard than somebody that just looks pretty on the suit to actually portray
We
us.
want Princess Leia again. God damn it.
Yes, I mean, I'd rather would have Ronda Rousey do Captain Marvel than Brie Larson. Come
I
on.
can't back you up on that one. She would be as bad, maybe even possibly worse
I don't
somehow.
think it would be as bad, but let me
You
tell you
know-
something.
Bad actress. Rhonda
Her
can't act.
acting- No, of course, her acting would have been crap, but at the end of the day, that's the director's job. Now, her acting is not what concerns me. What I'm trying to see is like this bland canvas of woman trying to portray the most powerful woman in the world. How many times as women we have to sit down and watch women with zero muscles trying to fight as if they're like this super strong being that can actually destroy shit, when in real life this woman will get killed within 3 seconds. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like when you
Now,
see the man all built up and being strong and stuff, but then you see the woman bland bland. I'm so tired of that. I don't feel represented as a woman. I'm sorry.
It's not representing you.
I said a bit since, and I'm going to bring it up again. Appropriately, Gina Carano was physically set out to play Wonder Woman, and she could actually throw hands and kick and punch. She's had a mixed martial arts and a fight career, so when she does it, she's actually got a talent for it. Because I've watched so many different films. You remember the Angelina Jolie, Lara Croft films,
Oh.
Yeah.
where she was doing the
Oh,
kickboxing?
Jesus, why do you do that to me, man?
Sorry, Tank. I apologise for the mental scarring. I'll be back later. I'm not being funny, but my other half, she doesn't just throw a punch and it's sort of like that wonderful little, like cat paw thing. Like she steps in, she drops a knee, she throws a hip into it, and the right cross comes in. If she's going to hit me with it, she's going to knock me out. You know what I mean? It's not just a little. It's not a glove
scam.
flap.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way to think.
By the way,
you need
Justin
to actually sell a real shot.
Yeah, she looks
Sorry?
like she
What's
can
up, Justin?
survive a fight. She does look like she can survive a fight. Like if you put any of these ladies next to their male counterparts, come on, they look like the damsel in distress.
Yeah,
It's like a freaking. I don't want somebody like Gal Gadot rescuing me from danger. I know I'm gonna die with her.
yeah. You know, in all my travels, I've known about almost exactly, if not exactly, a handful of women who kick guys' asses on the regular. You know, get in real fights. They're legit badasses. One of them, her name was Lorelei. I hope she's still around. I say was just because I haven't talked to her in many years, but she was in New Orleans, and she got in fights. She was a lesbian who got in fights all the time, like twice a week, sometimes once a week, whatever, with rednecks, you know, who would come to New Orleans from out of town, get all drunk and hit on her. And she'd be like, "You're not my type." And then they would be like, "Well, what's your type?" She'd be like, "Well, I like vagina." And then they would flip out, right? And get pissed off. And then they'd end up in a fight. She would just beat the fuck out of these guys. She's not pretty. Not my taste, at least. Some guys liked her. But she was mannish, very, very mannish, about 6'1". She was just a bit shorter than me and very thick, could manhandle me easily. And a lot of guys I know, like really strong. Her girlfriend likewise was very strong. And these aren't women you fuck with. But like I said, I've met maybe 5 examples of this out of many thousands of women that I've met of different ethnic backgrounds and in different regions and experiences, you know, different, you know, all that. And honestly, Gina Carano, she's not that great of an actress either. You know, she can do the action stuff.
But we're gonna
so she's not someone to carry a movie. She's somebody to be one of the supporting characters, really. You know what I mean?
But she's a hottie.
But this is the thing. At some point, compromise is going to have to be made. It's the same thing. The same comment I made with Ronda Rousey. She's not the best actress. Now, this goes back to directing skills. If an actor is not acting properly, whose responsibility was that?
Well, at the end of the day, the
director.
The director gets the blame. However,
So-
the casting director is expected to deliver to the director people who can fit that role. And then they're given coaches to coach them, and they're supposed to be able to, like, by the time they get to the director, they're supposed to understand the character and be something that the director can work with. Now, what we have is failures all across the board in Hollywood in all these top positions that are skilled positions.
But if you think about
And all of these people are dropping the ball, but of course the director is the one who gets the ultimate blame. Me as a video director myself, I also say, yeah, the director gets it. You know, when I failed to make a good video, it was my fault at the end of the day. So, yeah.
But look at this example. You have a lot of people, even in the MCU, that cannot properly act. Okay, let's just put that out there. And they have managed to deliver decent content. Okay, these movies are not something that you need to have acting skills that are top notch. We're not talking about Oscar winning or any type of award winning performances. What people want to see.
Some are actually. Some of them are actually very excellent.
I'm not talking about the bulk. I'm talking about the bulk. I'm not talking about anecdotal experiences per se. These movies, what people go and watch and want to see in these movies is action. So unfortunately, you're gonna have to compromise with, you know, the acting, because at the end of the day, what people want to see is just performance. Now, these are not dramas. These are just action-packed movies that are in an alternate universe that doesn't exist. So you have to create this for the people. Now, with that being said, it's so cringe-worthy that you see people demanding, for example, equal pay. I'm sorry, ladies, but we cannot demand equal pay when you have guys that are putting in 50 pounds of muscle or mass into their bodies to actually look more bulky or more strong, and actually putting in the work, waking up at 3 a.m., working out, working their butts off to actually look the part, and you just happen to do Pilates to actually look toned, and you know, because you think that looks strong, you're not working for the same amount of money. Like if we were to translate that into any type of work in any other area, any other sector, and you have somebody that's underdeveloping, they're not gonna be the CEO or have the same pay as the fucking manager. They're going to be paid accordingly. It all goes back to what I was saying at the beginning. We're in a subculture of giving people things as a gift rather than having them earn them. That's what's trashing media and any other sector right now in our economy.
Oh yeah,
society.
it's the good old. You're absolutely correct. It's the good old boy network, and it's always existed, but now it's getting out of hand because before Hollywood would actually scout talent, and they were actually working very, previous eras. We see that they were working very hard to find the talent out there, and now they're trying to just change our minds through psyops, media psyops, and social media psyops to make people like less quality, in terms of story and all of that kind of stuff. But I want to say this though about what you were saying about the MCU actors. We actually had some of the cream of the crop in that roster of that cast of actors for the first 8 years. Honestly, let's be real. As a director myself, I know that if I had Robert Downey Jr., Anthony Mackie, any of these guys, right, I can fucking do something great with these guys. Now, it started, and even Chadwick Boseman, fabulous actor. Like, if you give him the right script and a decent, not even a great director, but a decent director, you're going to get great performance out of these guys. They're going to be likable when they need to be. They're going to be hard when they need to be. But the thing is we see once the MCU was built up by the talent, such as those actors and the directors such as the Russos and Favreau, what then happened was the tokens, the family members, all that stuff, the good old boy network came in and said, okay, they built up a great thing. Now we get to play with the sandbox and get to play with the shiny new toys. And they kicked, where's the talent now? The Russos are not making Marvel movies now. Neither is Favreau. And now we've got a bunch of strangers we're supposed to accept based on their ethnicity or gender or sexual preference. It's a laughing stock. It is absolute laughing stock. I'm so glad I took advice, over 2 decades ago when I was told by people in my network to stay away from Hollywood and LA. Don't get involved. Don't go there. Stay in the indies. Even though I'm still broke to this day, I've only worked on a few movies and all that. I've learned a lot along the way, but I'm glad I took that advice. I would rather be where I am right now with this really great stuff that I've got set up for, really great potential in the near future than to have it already what they've got, like the best toys to play with right now and creating trash with them.
Yeah, it's such a waste.
It is a waste.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
What is MCU? I keep hearing that. So what
Marvel
is MCU?
Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's it's their whole cinematic universe with Iron Man and all those characters together. Spider-Man.
Okay, thank you, because I'm not all that familiar with comic books since I don't read it.
I'm glad you asked that question so that someone would answer it for those also out there, like in the chat or watching this, who also don't know what the MCU is. Yes, people exist that don't know what all this nerd stuff is, guys. It's okay.
Yeah.
No, it's true. No,
it's okay.
No. If I don't know something, I'm going to admit it and just ask a question.
That's wisdom, my friend. Much
because
respect.
We're not slow taps, Jose. We admit when we don't know something.
Yeah.
That is so true. And speaking about it,
Daddy, would you like some sausage? Daddy, would you like some sausages? Daddy, would you like some sausage?
But something, what I appreciate about ProTap's channel, it's there's a lot of intellectual contact, okay, and you can learn a lot of stuff from this channel. I mean, last night, I don't know what possessed me, but I actually watched a bit of Chivo 21 live stream.
You watched that?
Wow.
Oh my God, Jose. You're so brave, man.
You okay?
Are you okay? Do you need a hug?
Tell me on the barrel where the stream touched you.
Man, it's just, it's just that between this person and the other individual that was on the morning stream, it's like, I think I lost a couple of brain cells. I mean, they'll tell me, do not get into any of these slow tap streams. I didn't stream. I just watched it. I didn't get in.
Yeah, Henry.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, Henry brought his C game or Z game last night. You know, intellectually.
Look at the.
I was like, hey, Henry. Who?
Look at the brain cells. The Jose's brain cells. Jose's
Hold
brain
on.
cells. We're going through a lot of stress yesterday. Hold on.
Wait, I gotta ask.
Oh my goodness.
I love it. I love it. That's been the theme song for so many LOLs in the last few years. Hey, I gotta ask something. Who coined the term slow tap? Was that Mrs. H?
No, that was me.
That was you?
That's so long. That's okay.
It's so meme worthy.
It started with radical Hispano term. And then it transitioned into, instead of snowflake, snow tip. And then after that, because they're so slow and they can catch up with the information.
And then I came up with the term. Oh my Lord. And then I came up with the term mentally challenged or mentally and intellectually challenged.
Let's just call them, Jose, like that you posted the other day, the stupid demographics in marketing. Demographic.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe we're doing it wrong in Brain Cage, man. Those guys are making a lot. Maybe like on Pride Month, we should call ourselves Gay Cage. And
write out all the trends.
You know what's crazy? I think that's the demographic that actually love Brie Larson as Captain Marvel.
They don't either. Let's be real, they don't. They feel impassioned and emotionally driven, but Brie's acting performance delivered no passion, no energy. The story was not. It was very amateur. So nobody actually, I guarantee you, nobody really felt anything about any of those elements. What they felt was the marketing got them going, women power, girl power. Kill them old white man. Fuck them white man. Girls. That's what they like. They like to. Listen, man. Even normie girls have fun, and we've been doing this for decades. Like guys and chicks back and forth, just fun, right?
Yeah.
When you're partying, the girls are like, "We can out, shot you guys, woo!" You know, and they're trying to like compete. We're like, "You can't take us down, girly." At the end of the day, it's just like fun. It's always like to try and get the girls pumped up and having fun, because a lot of girls are uptight. They're afraid to like goof off and stuff because they're afraid they'll be unattractive.
Yeah.
You know, this society, you know, they want to be attractive, right? To at the end of the day, a guy like me who will make a stupid face and a weird voice, I'm obviously not concerned about being that attractive, right? To a mate, like trying to I'm doing a different thing. I'm just trying to entertain myself and others if anybody finds it funny. But you know, it's never been a battle until the psyops began.
Yeah,
and now all of a sudden, boys versus girls, or in this case more so girls versus boys, became real fucking battles in the workplace, in entertainment. All this, it's nuts. It's absolutely insane. People need to chill the fuck out. Chicks need to be able to be called chicks again. Without going, I'm a fucking woman.
Watch your language, chicks.
We're still dudes, right?
You can, but you know what's crazy? You know what's insane? I'm gonna insert this comment here because you guys know I always come with the mental health aspect. That whole thing that we have to be correct to mention a specific person by the correct labels. You know, I call America Label Land just to begin with, right? But that creates so much fucking anxiety. That's why we have so many people popping pills today, smoking weed, doing all these drugs, because you say one thing that just, you know, in your heart, you didn't mean any harm unless you actually did meant it. But just because you call somebody what they are, all of a sudden you're getting canceled. All of a sudden you have this mob of crazy motherfuckers that are telling you, "Oh, you're sexist.
Dario.
You're sexist. You're a horrible human being. You need to be canceled."
Dario.
Oh my god. So basically that sends people into a lot of anxiety today. And that's why we have so many weak people today.
Hey, I'm sorry to change the subject, but we got motherfucking Dario Hernandez all slicked up. All
Looking like a
slicked up
boss.
here.
What the hell?
Boss in
Look
it.
at that
What's up,
sexy
bro?
face.
Dude looked like
bro?
he looked like one of them cartel kids. You guys see on Instagram the children of the cartel bosses? The bosses are in jail. And the
That's
kids got the
racist.
shades on. They got the
That's
golden
racist.
AK-47s.
You're a racist. That's racist.
That's racist.
Racist.
Yeah, it's
I'm offended.
Oh,
What's going on, Dario? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jose.
But now let's not forget, there's freedom expression to everybody but us. Okay, that's the reality. Because I mean, and if you say one thing just slightly out of skill, out of the box, they want to cancel you.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, this is a story that happened, and it happened to me last year. I was in the middle of a Zoom meeting for a virtual legal consultation with the attorney of, with the law firm that my union has. So the attorney was having some difficulty on his end with the equipment and trying to get his stuff together. So I was trying to assist him. So then he got frustrated and he actually said "F you" to me. Now check this out. I'm trying to help the attorney with his technical issues. And he's telling me "F you."
He was offended, Jose.
Okay, so you know what I did? I ended up the Zoom meeting. I called the administrator of the welfare fund on her cell phone because I happen to be a welfare fund trustee. And actually, the law firm knows I'm a welfare fund trustee. Okay, so what happened was I voiced my concern. I sent an email with an official complaint regarding this attorney, who was supposedly a judge in Nassau County. Okay. So then what happened was the person that's in charge of the law firm called me directly and apologized. And this attorney was properly disciplined. Okay. Why I brought this up? Because if an attorney can act this way with me, because I'm a welfare fund trustee, which the law firm knows, that attorney could have done the same thing to any member, and his own content. It was totally inappropriate, and I was trying to assist the attorney because I've been to 59 gazillion Zoom meetings, so I do have some knowledge about what you need to do and things of that nature.
Yeah, man, that's what you're talking about are side effects of this psyops. And the reason for the psyops is to destabilize this society. Okay, so what you have is you have a certain percentage of the society as a result of the psyops who are unable to work like a normal person in work situations and even social situations, whatever. So they disrupt. And if you have just at least enough of them in society, they're spread out, they can hit all these different social groups, different companies, and all this, and disrupt quite a bit. And shit's not working anymore, guys. This shit's not working. What's been going on, Dario, man? What have you been? You're working on a couple books right now. Last I saw.
Yeah. It's just it's my favorite time of the week right now. My mom just went out of town, so I finally get to sleep on her side of the bed.
Well, congratulations, dude.
Okay.
Nice. Congratulations. That's fucking cool, though, man. I mean, it's good to have a favorite time of the week. Right? Something to look forward to. Keeps a guy going.
Yep. And then you actually get the bit to yourself.
Yeah, let me call you right back. I'm on the stream with Bro Tech right now. All right. Yeah, I just got off the phone with Dracula. He's telling me how happy he is because it's his girlfriend's period right now.
Is that the white or black version?
Yo, black. I think Dracula's Mexican. I could be wrong though.
Is he?
But you know something? In another stream that I was in with Denise, we talked about when we have these virtual meetings and how people they don't bother to mute themselves, and what you hear in the background, you hear the telephone ringing, you hear the kids screaming, you hear the spouse screaming, you hear the TV, or you hear some construction work going on outside.
Right.
So that's me. So what I end up doing is half the time I'm typing messages. Please mute yourselves. I mean, it's like I have a feeling once this pandemic is over, there's gonna be people that are gonna have to be reoriented how to conduct meetings properly.
Yeah.
Yeah, these YouTube streets is crazy.
Yeah,
Listen.
people lost of old senses of professionalism.
People ain't trying to go back into the office. Ain't nobody trying to do that. They
Not
talking
only
about like
that.
40% of the workforce is going to quit soon. So it's like, hey,
Not only that, like if you think about it, I'm like, this morons don't understand. Let's just put something out there. Whatever you put in the internet will stay in the fucking internet forever. So do you really like it doesn't matter what you do, it's gonna stay there. Somehow somebody's gonna save it or screenshot it or whatever the fuck. So at the end of the day, I'm like, is this the image that you want to live, the imprint you want to live in the internet of you? I've been on the
That's a good
wildest,
point.
yeah, I've been on the wildest streams you
I'm
could
fucked.
possibly imagine. Yeah, but at least you have a sense of humor.
Well, you know,
What we're talking about are people that are actually portraying their mental retardation into the screens instead of having some sense of, some common sense.
You know, my mom, see, I'm 47, so I have the luxury of having a mother that didn't exist during like the whole social media period. Because think about these kids right now whose mothers are like twerking and doing all that hoe ass shit on TikTok and all this stuff. These fuckers, man, when they grow up later, like I look at old family photos and I see people who have class, and clean themselves up and are, and all that kind of stuff. I see pictures of my family members. They look like people of that time and stuff. These people are going to look back and see their mom like twerking and shit and being like a hoe.
Shaking that ass.
And shaking that ass for dollars. And,
that's what I'm talking about.
That's a luxury my generation gets to enjoy, man.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about, baby.
My childhood.
Lord, who just said it? Who just gave you okay for the twerking? Lord
hell yeah. Sorry, because I got proof. You know what I'm saying?
Lord Okage approves, man. He approves.
Yeah.
I think there is a psyops going on though. Like I noticed after the pandemic, things have been lifted. Nobody knows how to have fun anymore. Like I went to a strip club downtown the other day. And I did my usual routine, you know. I lay on the stage on my back and I put money in my mouth. Wait for the girl to come get the money. But this time I got yanked off the stage feet first by some big Russian bouncer. I got thrown out. Like, what the fuck? Nobody knows how to have fun anymore.
Yeah, man.
I think
Hard
even
times.
before the pandemic, you'd have gotten yanked off stage.
Depends on the club. Depends on the club.
Yeah, it does depend on the club.
I wonder how this situation now in the gentleman's club is with the whole mask situation. Are they lifting that too?
Oh, they're at war right now. The strip clubs are at war. Before the pandemic, there was all these secret spots, and so they were making money hand over fist, upcharging for everything. And now that the strip clubs are back, they're like ratting on each other because there's money to be made in the private ones.
I remember they made a drive-through strip club. I remember that. I was like, how the fuck you do that shit?
Clown World.
Chicago had a strip club in the park.
Clown World.
Hey,
You don't say.
that's the Marriott.
Yeah, look it up. It's on the internet. They did.
You
Like
got
they
to
had.
be fucking kidding me.
Listen, man. I'm just saying. You gotta like improvise. That's kind of like, you know what I'm saying. You don't really need a permit. You just call it a party, right? And you just throw ones, and it's like, you know.
Oh boy! Oh boy! Oh boy!
All right, I'm gonna need everybody who has something to plug to start plugging it, so we can start wrapping up and like resume at another time. Let me see, Greg, what you got for us for World War Hell and the Brain Cage universe?
I'm gonna let Daniel talk about World War Hell.
No doubt.
Yeah, man, we want to hear from him. He's the sick mind behind that awesome IP.
Oh, Jesus, don't get me started about that.
Yeah, we want to get you started. Yeah, right now, those of you who don't know, I have a book called Gun Demon. It is basically the flagship launch for the Brain Cage Continuity Universe. And it's going to be, the campaign's actually going to go live here in just sometime, hopefully within the next few weeks, getting the last art together for it and everything. So I've got Gun Demon. That's on the pre-launch is on Indiegogo right now, so you can sign up right now, and you'll get updates in your email and all that. But we're going to send, in Brain Cage, we send content when we send updates. So we're not expecting you to take time out of your day and just look at our pitch or whatever it is. We're going to give you some cool new art that we won't share publicly for a few weeks after, So we'll be sharing new things and also short stories and different kinds of content in the mailing list. So we're launching with Gun Demon, and then the second book is going to be World War Hell, and by Daniel Fogarty there. And Dan, you want to take the stage here?
And you guys want to share a screen? I'll share your screen if you have something that you wanna put on the stage here. Dan, you got any screen shares for us?
I got stuff, but I can't show it yet.
You can't show it. All right.
You have stuff you can show. If you.
Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and go to your Indiegogo sign-up page to have people go over there and sign up. Hold on. There we go.
You.
Hold on.
Can Dan share the World War Hell cover yet, or no, not yet?
He's got one right now for the issue 0, but that's going to be a stretch goal in the Gun Demon campaign. And he's got multiple covers being, basically being produced right now for World War Hell 1, and he'll be sharing those very soon.
Yeah,
I'm not going to the World War Hell issue 0 is going to be a stretch goal, so we need to hit our initial goal, and then I'll add that as a stretch goal and then reveal it. That's going to be in this campaign right here. So that issue 0 is going to be the first appearance of Blitzkrieg and Prang, who are two of the main characters in World War Hell. Blitzkrieg is one of our main superhero characters. He's kind of our Venom / Wolverine style Ripper kind of character. Gun Demon here, I'll just give the quick pitch here. Basically, Gunny is he's the first in a new type of demon that's humanoid that is sent to Earth and created for a specific mission, which could lead to the end of life as we know it on planet Earth for humans. He comes here and finds joy for the first time and makes some friends with some outcast kind of homeless people, and decides he doesn't want the Earth to go away. He wants to, the demons were dickheads, and he's kind of very young. He's kind of like in his toddler stage of mental growth at this point. So, it's a sort of stranger in a strange land story with a little bit of humor, high octane action though, and a little bit of horror. Well, I would have to say quite a bit of horror when he meets his foe that you see there in that art. That is Abaddon, his nemesis. Abaddon is you'll see what Abaddon is. We'll have more images coming soon to reveal of that character. Once I launch the campaign, I'm going to reveal a lot more. But Dan, you want to take it over with World War Hell there?
Yeah, basically World War Hell is during World War II, during 1944, at the beginning of, I'd say at the beginning, right in the middle of D-Day, a portal to hell opens up and begins to spill out. And at this point, it screws up everything, and the Axis and the Allies have to team up together to fight the hell itself. And and then what happens is what's one of the things that everybody's kind of heard about, and I showed some designs for them, are these things called Frankentanks. Frankentanks are basically vehicles that have been mashed together from Axis and Allied tanks because the supply lines screwed up so much. They basically got to find anything they can to fight these things. Now, what's really interesting too is I'm also talking to a couple of my guys too about making a demonary and a basically also a weaponary of weapons in the demons of World War Hell. There's going to be some that make it, and there's going to be some that couldn't make it. And the big thing is that with World War Hell, I'm throwing everything I can in there, and basically there's heroes. It's like Mad Max. It's got war in it. It's almost Clive Barker-ish, and it's just going to be. I want it to be an '80s horror movie in your hand. That's what I want it to be. And if you have a blast with it, then I've done my job. And that's Frank.
That's one of the Hellions.
Badass.
The Hellions are made up of. All of these elite warriors are essentially the best of the best among the U.S., German, Russian, all of these different types. Like somebody asked last night, why is there a German guy as a hero in a World War II era thing? It's like, well, one thing that's rarely ever touched in World War movies or anything like that is that a lot of the soldiers on both sides of a war, like most of them, aren't brainwashed monsters or things. They're people who were forced to go there and fight. They have no choice. They're just more poor people being thrown into the meat grinder by the rich people. Sometimes it even seems to be for sport and nothing more. It's definitely for profit as a default, of course, and it's also for population control, whatever you feel about it. But the point is, one of the little themes in World War Hell is when it comes down to it, no matter what your politics or your nationality or your skin color, when there's monsters to fight for the good of humanity, the real heroes step up, and it doesn't matter what your background is. It matters what you become in that moment. And you will see a lot of tension amongst the Hellions, these different warriors, because you've got a German that hates that Russian really bad. You've got an English and an American that have problems with the German guy. They don't like him at all because they lost buddies in this fight. But you also see characters that save each other because they need that guy next to them. And then over that, they develop a bond over time, and they become a really tight fighting unit. And I'll tell you this, Dan and I were heavily influenced by the stories of Easy Company from World War II and the show Band of Brothers, which did an okay job of retelling that history. Yeah, I do too. But they did an okay job of retelling that history. Some of that shit is not accurate, but then some of it is very accurate. Like the tactics that was involved was very accurate, for example. But yeah, man, that's war. That's a war story done right. It was a human story, all these different human stories, and it's epic and great threat involved. And World War Hell has all of this. Believe it or not, it even has some elements of Star Wars in there that you won't really see until later as things develop. I'm not going to spoil anything, but we can't go. That's way in the future, by the way. But what did you want to say, Dan?
I said we've got so much. It's killing me. I've got so much stuff, more stuff that has been developed that is almost there, but it's like I can't yet. But I promise. The first one before I do a release, I'll release it on. I'll either get Greg or myself to release it for you, Bro Tap. You'll get the first dibs on it. I'll make a promise on that.
Yeah, to give you guys an idea out there, look at that Frankentank that we're actually now you're onto the Destroyer Demon. Do you mind going back to the Frankentank real quick? That last one.
Yeah,
you showed?
Sure. Give me a second.
Awesome, thank you, Tank.
You're welcome.
There's Blitzkrieg. Look at that. What a mighty warrior.
All right, there we go.
Oh, right there. Now, if you take a look here, this was designed by Daniel and Spyco. Spyco is the 3D modeler, and Spyco it just really killed it with these Frankentank designs. If you look at it, these are parts taken from actual World War II vehicles right here. This is authentic parts. And one of the ideas that we've got in the future for action figure vehicles is to release each of the individual normal World War II tanks and vehicles, but then you'll be able to take them apart because they'll have modular parts and put them together into each of these Frankentanks, and we'll have instructions on which parts you take from each tank. This is some of the stuff we want to do with merchandising. Oh, there's our rammer type. Yeah, this one it's not painted up yet. It's going to be skinned, and it's going to have these guys have time, oftentimes like any engineers in wartime, they've got downtime, and what they like to do is paint their tanks. So you're going to see This one's going to be called Hot Mama. And it's going to show a woman on there, like a 1942 woman, and she's blowing a kiss, and there's flames coming out from the kiss.
Oh, like the flight aviation girls that used to be.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's sick, man.
Exactly. And get this, what this Frankentank does is it's called Hot Mama because this is the flashy Frankentank. It goes in and rams and breaks up the destroyer demon front line, the Hell's front line, and it just causes crazy chaos. So there are going to be times in these stories where when Hot Mama comes in, the soldiers are all cheering, they're like, yeah, get them, and Hot Mama comes in, and we've got a lot of story behind even each of the vehicles. They even have kind of personality as much as an object can, it's we've done it through the art and their position in the story, their role in the story. That's a lot of work, guys. We've put probably the most amount of work out of all of our titles into World War Hell. There have been times where for like a month straight, everybody in Brain Cage is pitching in concepts and excited, and we're in there hours a day, and people are just offering up, like they're just like, artists are just going, I'm just going to do some mock-ups. So, all right, how much you want for it? No, dude, I just want to do it, and all that kind of stuff. People going crazy and loving it. That's what brought me to Comicsgate. And now we're creating it in our own smaller community where there's more organization and teamwork. So that's essentially what we're doing. We're the first indie publishing company to grow out of, with a shared universe, to grow out of Comicsgate. So, to grow literally initially out of that community. So because you already had All Caps Comics, but Ethan's doing different things in All Caps. He doesn't really have a shared universe. I think they do books. They do crossovers, but I think they're kind of out of continuity crossovers because I don't know how else you can fit the storyline of Cyberfrog in with Snowman or
with anything else. Cyberfrog is just its own thing. Yeah,
it's got its own world, that involves the Vespas. So it's not. I wouldn't call it a shared universe. It's kind of just like they do these crossovers but it's awesome what they're doing. It's the best in comic books right now, man. It's absolutely. It's fucking awesome. Nobody else is doing what they're doing. We're doing our thing inspired by what we saw Ethan and All Caps doing in the Indies, and we came in, we said, we're ready. We're on the sidelines. We're ready to play, Captain. And basically we're doing our own thing too. We're not going to come in and we're not going to copy Ethan and what they're doing. We're going to do our own things. We have our own visions. And, and it's a shared universe where all of these great characters that we put all this design and time into, they're like they're like toys in a sandbox for each of the Brain Cage creators to play with, all the crossovers and events and all that kind of stuff. Dude, I'm going to have Dan's character Blitzkrieg in Gun Demon in the future. Those two, Gunny and Blitzkrieg, are going to team up. It's going to be fucking ridiculous throwdowns, man. And we're all excited. And then when we get excited about these characters, that comes out in our work, and then people who like our vision are getting excited too. Now Dario here is doing stuff I've been seeing on Twitter. I haven't talked to you in a while, Dario, because I know you've been busy and I've been busy as fuck. But I see you've got 2 books you're launching right now?
Yeah, I mean, it was told me through advice that it's a bad idea, but that's just going to be the way I do my campaigns. It's always going to be a 1-2 punch, 2 different
Everything's
books.
a bad idea, right? Everything.
The clock is ticking, and so that's how I'm going to do it. 2 books, 1 campaign.
That's interesting. I like that. I like that model, honestly. You could really make that work. There's a lot of ways I could think just initially off the top of my head how that could work great.
Yep. And it saves on shipping. You don't have to buy. Yep. So that's immediately the first thing that came to my head was, I get a deal on shipping because it's two stories for the price of one.
Also, I don't know what kind of stories you're going for also, but I also see potential there to even tie the stories in interesting ways so that then it all of a sudden becomes one story. There's so many things you can do with that model. It just cracks me up how there's always creators going, oh, you can't do that. Don't do that. Every type of innovative idea that any creator comes up with that's out of the norm or different, that you hear that all the time. Now, maybe in some cases they're correct. Maybe sometimes we're getting a little bit, bigger than our britches or whatever. But here's the thing: fucking rock out with your cock out, man. The thing. go big or go the fuck home. We're trying to break in and recreate the mainstream. Are we going to do that by not making waves, by not experimenting, by not fucking taking risks? We're not going to fucking do anything of the sort by sitting back and doing what everybody else is doing that's not breaking them into a place to recreate the mainstream. So fucking do it, Dario, and fucking develop that model and show another model that the next generation of creators can come in and say, hey, I saw Dario make this work, and I think that'd be cool because I've got 2 stories, and fucking do it, bro.
Now,
for real.
I will say that World War Hell is going to be the big event. Now, as you can see that with these Frankentank back there, that's the Mega Fortress that they make.
Yeah.
And that's basically made out of a U-boat with numerous parts, and was it a B-24 and numerous parts they found. This is like their home. And one of the things I want to get across too, and Tank can also suffice this because he was a tanker, but in World War II, the claustrophobia of a tank is it's extremely, extremely tight. Like my grandfather was a tanker in World War II. He was an M10 tank destroyer, part of the Black Cats. And
buddy, treat him rough.
But yeah, my one of the things that I remember he used to tell me too is like they would take these tanks and they would use them for not their intended purpose. In Italy, when my grandfather landed in World War II, it was originally, as a tank destroyer, they basically said, well, we don't need tank destroyers right now because the ground's too rough. They fucking turned it into artillery. They made his gun stick up, and they basically said, you're makeshift artillery now. And I want to get that kind of, that Army mentality too, improvise, overadapt, and overcome. That's the thing I want in there too. I want that, this is a desperate situation. If you got to fucking pick up a 50 cal and put it under your arm to shoot these damn things, well, guess what? You damn well better do it or you get ripped apart.
Yeah. And something else too is we have most of the people working on this project are military who have extensive knowledge in a lot of these like technologies, these vehicles, these weapons. And so anybody out there who's military or weapon enthusiasts or war enthusiasts will read the comic book, or when we get to the stage of movies, which we have plans for that in the works. We have plans for a lot of things in the works. But when we get to these stages, we're not going to insult the minds of people who worked in these fields who would be attracted to this kind of IP. They're going to go, wow, these guys put the work in. They really know this stuff. So I'll tell you something, those Frankentanks, for the most part, those would actually work. We're using a little bit of science fiction magic in some areas so that, we can just make it a little more fun, right? But like you take that Mega Fortress, when we were first developing this, you can ask any of the guys on the project, I was naysaying the Mega Fortress. I was like, man, I don't think something that big can really exist and like move across landscape. I think we need to tone it down, maybe make it a bunch of tanks in a caravan to be the Battle Fortress that are like maybe, but I was actually, the technology was broken down to me by Spyco and Dan. And also they gave me examples that even existed in that period of time of massive vehicles that actually functioned, that were experiments. And so I saw that and I said, oh shit. All right. Oh, fucking right. All right. This is exciting. We can do this. The only thing that scared me was how the fuck are we going to make a goddamn action figure vehicle that big for this goddamn thing?
Hey, man, if G.I. Joe can have the flag, we can have the mother tank.
That's right. We shall make it so.
And that's what I thought about, too. One of my ideas for that, if we eventually make that into a functioning thing, is we sell it in play sets where you can literally snap it together.
Right. There are many ways to go, but your first reaction when you're co-developing something like this, sometimes I'm a bit hard on not hard as in attitude or in tone of voice, but more like the challenges I present to some of the artists and developers, because the way James Dean Anderson put it in the best words to me one day, and I started using that phrase from then on out, was, if it bothers you, somebody fucking hates it. So change it.
That's true.
And so I'm, and like, for example, I'll quote somebody here in the panel. Tank likes to tell me, my role as editor is to be the first and last line of defense for the reader to make sure they're getting quality.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. So I'm a little bit tough. Like, for example, working with Ben, Ben can tell you, man, it took about 4 months. It took about 4 months for us going back and forth on ideas and concepts before we got a celerity. You know, his character was at the point where I said, yes, this is the character. And yeah, he's laughing. What would you say on that, Ben?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it took a while. It took a while. Mostly I was a ding dong and I was trying to formulate words that just weren't making sense.
No, I'm picky. I'm very, very picky. His character in particular, we gave her probably the most work because she's like our flagship female character. And to me, I'm burnt out on seeing hot chicks, like fuck girl characters everywhere that I look.
Yeah.
There's 90% of books out there. So I'm like, she's got to be something that excites me too, like as a superhero character, not just a fuck girl, but I'm going to look at her as a superhero fan that doesn't care about titties and ass and my superheroes so much. You know, not that I'm against it. It doesn't make me go, that's a cool design. I like how they draw the boobies. I want to see cool helmets and armor and masks, right? That's what's cool to me. So, you know, anyways, I wanted it to be something that somebody picky like me is going to go, that is a badass superhero. And the guys who do like, and also the women who do like, you know, to see a beautiful woman, you know, like that. And I like to see it myself too. You know, they're not going to be, they're not going to be disappointed. And it took a lot of work. I was trying to like, even at times take away some of her sexiness. I wanted her at one point to be this arachnid looking alien in her normal form. And then
I mean, it's a visual medium though, man. Like, you know,
she would shapeshift into the beautiful form, and that was going to be a joke that the audience knows that the don't. Like this guy's wanting to get some of that, right? He don't realize she's this apex predatorial creature. So, you know, basically Ben and I went back and forth tweaking both of our kind of ideas. Like, you know, I wanted to make sure there was some sexiness in there for her, like natural sexiness. But, you know, on him, because that's what he was really wanting. On my side of it, she needed to be like this alien creature. And we ended up tweaking, I think, balancing it perfectly now to where it's all there. She is in her normal form, this form that you see, this beautiful woman. But she also has alien. You'll see. We don't need to spoil everything right now. But
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's all right. Go ahead, buddy. I'm done.
Basically, there is so much stuff that I had to cut out of World War Hell that I was like, dude, you're not going to fit it all. That I'm thinking that of making a cutting room floor book, were just concepts that just didn't fucking make it.
No.
A lot of those could actually be a series of short stories that still fit in the overall. This guy's got ideas. You have to understand, guys. Dan is an idea factory, a non-stop idea factory. So when you work with him, you have to be like, you have to be like, hey man, that's cool, but we're working on this one thing right now. Can we stay on that? You know, because he has a constant. It's nonstop. So yeah, he's got a lot of ideas. This nonstop stories can come out of this for sure.
Oh yeah, I am having a blast doing that, and I hope you can just see it in my work, because that's what I want you guys to do in the end. As I said before, I just want you guys to have as much fun as you can. If you can forget about what you're doing, or you know, just your woes and your problems for about 5 minutes while reading this, and just just have fun, I've done my job. That's all I want. I want you guys to have fun when you read this book. That's it.
Yeah, and speaking of fun, we also have Paul Roper here. Him and his wife Trish are the creators of Boulder, The Last Promethean, and we're going to be showing some promotional stuff for that character very soon too. This is one of our main flagship characters. You want to take it, Paul? Give us the elevator pitch and all that.
Yeah, well, and then I've got. Am I all right to do 21 Demons straight after it?
You can even lead with 21 Demons. That's going to be launching first, so you might want to lead with that.
Oh, I'm excited about this.
Right.
What's up, fellas? What's up, everybody? What's up?
Hey.
Welcome, bro.
21 Demons started literally about in 2003. Yeah, I thought I was a pretty good artist at that point in time, and no, I wasn't. I was still learning. Developed it literally. It's not your natural superhero or whatever it is, or demonic hunter or things like that. I've screwed with a lot of things such as religion, the Frankenstein monster, Dracula, everything like that. There's dragons, there's the fairy elves in there. I've even used the Norse and Egyptian gods as well as, the Greek gods as well, but I've made them all choirs of angels. This story is literally based around what Lucifer actually said to God before he fell to hell. And it's basically how things are emitted, if you know what I mean. Literally, the main character is part dragon, part angel, and, he can breathe fire, he can generate electricity from his bones and stuff like that. But the premise is that when Lucifer fell through to hell, each of the spheres of hell had 3 guardians to it, and he captured and basically imprisoned them and made them into keys to open the gateway, which was basically what God had given him as a power. He could perform gate transferals across omniversal time frames. So literally, he made these demons the keys to this gateway. So if you find them, you can literally go anywhere, anytime, any possibility. And his decree was that he will bring his favored creation, man, to God, and he will denounce him in front of the throne, thus making God fallible. That's the whole story of this. So basically, it's stretched over time. There's a lot of different things in there, and literally the first story arc is about the rise, where you're actually going to start hunting the demons. This is it, and it's not going to be obviously Brain Cage continuity. It's an unlimited, so I can literally do the 7 story arcs because I want one sin for each story arc, and it's hard because I've got since 2003 until now worth of story that I've written. I've got characters in there. Dracula's a fallen angel. Told Gregory about the Frankenstein monster in there. Obviously the Norse and the Egyptian gods as well. So it's a bit hard to fit into one little pitch because there's a lot of time and effort gone into this, and I'm doing not only the writing but the artwork. And this originally was pitched to Mark Silvestri at Top Cow in 2008, but I really wasn't on any kind of level that could fit into Top Cow or Image. So he just turned around and basically said to me, look, this is what you need to do. You need to go and write your story correctly. So I did, and it's developed over time, and obviously my writing's got a hell of a lot better. So that's that. Boulder, the Last Promethean, was basically me and Gregory came with a little bit of an idea, and then I turned around and spoke to my lovely other half. She is called Chance Newton, and she is the last child of Prometheus. Prometheus was basically one of the gods that thought that mankind should not be used as, experimental things. They should be taught knowledge. They should be taught literally how to be the next generation of gods. And basically the story runs through, the Promethean guards, who were Prometheus's right hands and Zeus's obvious guard and stuff like that, eradicating the children of Prometheus, barring her. But then they break into 2 sects, and you have the Promethean guards and the Olympian Knights hunting for the last Promethean, which is this 19-year-old girl who's now living on planet Earth. So the basic power of Boulder is that she can control the tectonic plates, and literally she can raise a suit of armor out of the actual Earth around her.
That's sick.
She's not. How can I put it? She's completely.
Because metal's from stone anyway, right? Metal is from heated stone. Metal is from heated stone anyway, right? Can she actually like in real time forge an armor right out of the ground, like raise it up and put it on herself?
Virtually, yeah. She can raise parts of the ground, and she can create this full Boulder suit. So it's kind of.
If I could elaborate, Paul.
Sorry.
Basically, she is in our universe where the mythology. Well, not Chance Newton, the current Boulder, but a previous wielder of the artifact that grants that power, is where the mythology of golems, stone golems, or earth golems, or earth elementals came from. Big, rockish, hulking beings. No matter who's operating the artifact that's inside that rock metal suit, right? It projects a powerful voice, like real deep and powerful type of voice. You can't tell who's in there or anything. and it's a big monstrous looking thing. When it was wielded in the past, that's what created that mythology. So the suit can basically build, it pulls a magnetic and energy field around the body of the wielder and sucks all of that material in and enhances strength. Boulder's basically one of our 2 frontline tanks. The other one we haven't released yet. It's the John Henry character. But those 2 hold the front line in the big events in the future that we have planned when they fight big Super Thanos type, villains and things.
That's sick.
Yeah, so you'll see Boulder, for example, like take a really powerful blast to the arm or something like that, and it'll take off layers of all that stone and rock.
Yeah.
And then, the other character, the John Henry character, jumps in to relieve Boulder on tank and goes in with a punch. And while that's going on, you'll see Boulder pulling more material.
Magnetically pulling pieces to cover that. Yeah. That's badass.
Yeah. Describe who she is outside of the suit, Paul, because she's a really cool character. She's going to be fun.
Basically, she's a 19-year-old rock chick. That's the easiest way of putting it. She really doesn't like any kind of authority or anything like that. And, she's really smart. That's the issue she's got. She can pull people to pieces because she is smart. She just doesn't like authority. By 19-year-old, she's already had a tattooed sleeve put on her arm, but she's not, like Butch Dyke looking. She's got that cute type of rock chick girl, going on.
Yeah.
And it's just, we wanted something that fit in right in the middle of everything. We didn't want it to, like massive mohawk or anything like that. She looks cool, she looks feminine, but she's an annoying, sarcastic. She could be English, to be totally honest. Thinking it's more around the touch of Monty Python and the fun era, a little bit
She's
of Richard
a
Pryor
little
thrown in there.
Yeah,
she is.
Hold on, Denise wanted to say something. Go ahead, Denise.
Sorry.
I'm about to head out. I just want
to
say thank you, Brote, for having me and for inviting me.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
You're awesome. You're awesome, Denise. A lot of awesome points. No joke.
For real.
You're a big hit, Denise.
great perspective on a lot of these topics we were talking about, for sure.
And I'm not literally, I don't know the most, so I'll let you guys do the talking, but I mean the little bit I know and my perspective, I like to put it out there. So thank you guys for bearing with me. And also,
Denise, it's always, I'm sorry. Denise, it's always a pleasure to hear from you.
Yep. I'm so glad she stopped by. She
saying,
brought up points I wasn't even thinking of. She brought up points. I was like, oh shit.
I was you guys know I was taking a break because we had a loss in the family, but I'm back.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you guys will see me more often, but really thank you guys. I'm gonna head out, but I'll catch you guys on the next one, okay? Bye.
Yes, ma'am.
Peace.
All right.
Please be
Peace
safe.
out. Yeah.
Rotep,
Yes.
I'm going to leave the stream as well. First of all, as always, thank you for allowing me to be in this stream.
No, my pleasure. It's my pleasure completely. I'm happy that you came, man.
Well, I understand why you closed the stream for a while because unfortunately, the slow taps try to rub the so I can understand it, and I just consider myself very fortunate to be a part of this stream. It's good to hear from you, all of you. Rotep knows I always say goodbye saying the same way.
Yep.
Please be careful out there because there are some crazy people who want to do us harm, and we have to be careful because if we have too much close contact with the slow taps, we might inherit their stupidity.
Not today. Not today, slow
Not
taps.
today, Satan.
Not today, slow taps.
Not today, slow taps.
Yeah.
Okay, so have a blessed night. Please be safe.
All right, you too, Jose.
You too.
Okay, bye.
Take care.
Have a good one.
You have the best people on this show, Bob.
Well,
I
thanks,
love
man.
it.
That's
I
the
love
weird thing
channel.
about Jose. I didn't know he was a geek at heart, because
That's
usually
cool.
he speaks on political stuff. Like what's going on with Latin America, A lot of messed up things are going on down there, about poverty and war and all these sorts of things. But I didn't know there was a big geek, nerd under there. He's yeah, okay. We need to do this more often.
Part of what we want to do is stimulate creativity in people, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's what we've lost, man. It used to be a thing. Like, for example, I was part of I wasn't on ground zero concerning Comicsgate. So I was there when it was mostly like two people doing the creative stuff. It was Ethan Van Sciver, four people actually. Ethan Van Sciver, the guy who does, I forgot his name now, who did the Red Rooster, Donald DeLay doing some sort of breaker.
Bitch Buttweiser.
and Mike S. Miller, right? And even Zach hadn't really come in yet. And then when Zach came in with Jawbreakers, all these different fan art was coming out, and the people over at this is sad. It's pretty sad. So all this fan art was coming out of Red Rooster, of Lone Star, the Heart of a Soldier, Jawbreakers, we call Cyberfrog. All this fan art every day. The place was flooded with fan art. And then Gail Simone over on the other side of comics Twitter was like, how come I don't have any fan art of Domino? Make it happen. If you have to ask for fan art, it's not fan art.
Yeah.
Okay, that was some of the saddest things I've ever seen from that side of the equation. But I was part of that beginning of it, and the excitement that seeing good work generate, the excitement that it does, it's being lost right now. I don't see a lot of fan art outside of like Tumblr, where they make guys make out with guys and all these different things. Outside of Tumblr, I don't see that much fan art anymore being made like of I don't know, Wolverine and all these sorts of things. You know what I mean? Yeah. The interest has gone down. So I'm glad that you guys are doing what you're doing, where you're I don't know if it's going to be enough. I hope it's enough. But basically, you're the what do you call that stuff when you're in the ambulance and they need to restart your heart? They got the two things. Clear. Oh, yeah. Basically, that's what you guys are doing. The what?
It's defibrillation.
Yeah, the defibrillator, right? You guys are doing the defibrillator thing, and I hope it's enough. I want to be part of whatever form the industry takes. I want to be part of an industry again. I want to actually work. I mean, I wanted to before I die one day to actually draw Spider-Man officially. You know what I mean? But that's not going to happen. That's not what they do now. They said they no longer take submissions. They find you. That's what Chip Zdarsky, was it Chip Zdarsky? One of those guys said that. So does he know how many dreams he crushed? The little kid somewhere in Nebraska or wherever, or even in Harlem, who's growing up drawing Sam Wilson's Falcon or Steve Rogers' Captain America, and who wants to be, you know what, I want to draw this stuff. And then they're like, nah, not really. If you get down with our political agendas, we'll find you. That's amazingly awful. Give me a minute. I see.
That's what you get when villains are in charge of industries. That's what you get.
Thank you. This is looking beast, man.
Thank you. This is Scalpel 21, the Blackjack.
Okay.
Beast.
Oh, that's the girl, right? The cyborg woman. Yeah. All right.
That's
cool,
right.
Cool.
The cybernetic android.
One of them.
Yep. This is.
I love how the guns are placed, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. No, she's not like Zero. She actually tucks her guns away the way they were supposed to be, and she's showing off all 6 pairs of guns she got.
Now the thing is, okay, she's a cyborg. What's the soft tissue made of?
The soft tissue is a proprietary chimeric DNA, similar to human DNA, only it has 26 chromosomes as opposed to 23, and instead of about 3 to 4.5 million base pairs. She actually has, instead of 3 million base pairs, her DNA is 4 million base pairs. 4.5
So
million.
everything's more dense, more tightly packed.
Yes.
Is that what you
like,
mean?
She is like, you look at her and you're like, dang, she probably weighs like maybe 200, maybe about 200 pounds. Female bodybuilder like this weighs about 220, 230 tops. She's dang near 300 pounds.
Zoom in a little bit. Talk about her. Can you zoom in a little bit so we can see?
Oh yeah. What do you
because
want?
especially for the playback, we need to see like how detailed. Yeah, fantastic work. I love the shadowing. I love the hatching. And the design. Obviously, the design is good. I'm a big fan of strategic gun placement and characters where you have like not unique, but kind of like a clever hierarchy of this strap goes here, this gun is hung there, that's tucked in here. I love these. I like the double belt system you got going on there. All that stuff is cool.
One to hold up her pants, the other one to hold up the gun.
To hold the guns, yes.
Well, Tank is one of our military advisors in Brain Cage. So that's where you can see right there where that comes through, where that experience and that knowledge comes through in products.
Very cool. But so hold on, what's her name again?
Blackjack. I was just about to darken that too because I got this layer back here.
Okay, her name's Blackjack.
Yep, this is Blackjack. Scalpel 21. She is of the. There we go. I can darken that in.
That's for the Unlimited Universe, right?
Yes, this is for the Unlimited Universe. She is specifically my crossover character. Her origin story, as far as anyone else is really concerned, is that when she and Scalpel Zero were on a mission to investigate a corporate Chinese dark site, it turned out that they're trying to build a singularity reactor, a black hole. And in the ensuing fight, 21 gets knocked into the black hole. Now, in reality, that's the end. But let's have some fun. Let's sprinkle some science fiction magic on this and say, all right, now we got that whole Buck Rogers opening of her spinning, and the universe going concentric circles as she goes passing through the multiverse. So instead of killing the character, I said, all right, fine, they're banished from this universe. I've sent them to another dimension. That's all you DBZ fans out there. And it's fun because people want to do a lot of crossovers with Scalpel Zero. And I was like, well, I do have a Scalpel unit that's very close to Scalpel Zero. She's basically the same thing. She's just a bit beefier than the prototype. But I can't do any crossovers with Scalpel Zero. I'm sorry, it's a fixed timeline. That story is told. In fact, it's actually just an alternate future history. So when I'm telling this Scalpel Zero story, this shit has come and gone. The story's been written. But 21.
But Blackjack. Yeah.
Blackjack. Plus Blackjack. That's cool. She's got the eye patch, which is like an optic. That's an electromagnetic sensor that would blow your mind. Like she could see all the way from like low frequency microwave to high frequency X-ray.
Well, you didn't think of don't you want to make the eye patch kind of like the Blackjack spade? Have you tried that design element to see if it'll fit?
No, I haven't done that yet. I was going for something a little more practical. I was good, and I'm still kind of designing it out. I'm still kind of playing it out. Sadly, whereas on paper, script-wise, she's this very developed character.
Right.
Like all the Scalpel units, they all have their own unique personality because it's adaptive machine learning. And they all been put through different training scenarios. So because they're testing it out, they're seeing where does this shit stick? We got to try it out. We got to try them out. Frontline combat. Let's go put them in special operations. Let's go put them as a spy. Let's go put one in outer space as an astronaut. Let's put one at the bottom of the ocean. F it. Let's do 2 at the bottom of the ocean. We're gonna put one in an airship and make it the captain. We're gonna test the limits of this technology. And she's fun. It's fun. Like this is like I was looking at your character last night. And I'm like, dude, now this is a great versus right there because Zero.
Yeah, that would be cool.
is like strength wise.
And
she could throw a Harley at 30 yards with accuracy.
Yeah, and
sorry, go ahead.
No, it's cool. You can throw Harley at 30 yards.
Yeah, with accuracy.
That's pretty damn strong.
She's strong. Like she could pick up a car, but the reality of picking up a car is not like it is in the movies. You got to send it around. It's real awkward.
Yeah, I'll crumple right around you. These people don't know. They don't know what they're talking about when they do that.
But
I mean, there's probably a way to do it. It's just I haven't. I mean, even with junkyards, they don't pick it up like that. They use some sort of magnet to pick it up from the top.
They try to spread out the area of impact as much as possible.
Yep,
to pick it
exactly.
up because physics. So, yeah, she's a fun character. She's, it's going to be interesting. I actually don't know where her story's going from here because, whereas I've talked to a few creators, and say, hey man, let's have a crossover. And wherever we're like, yeah, we kind of played with it a little bit. No real work was done on it. And I was like, dude, this is a great way to introduce the rules of your universe because you have somebody who's learning them.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You get to do the it's sort of like a not Pathfinder, Viewfinder. You use the character as a viewfinder.
Yes.
That way, when someone explains the rules to her, it doesn't sound so much heavy-handed exposition.
Yeah.
It actually makes sense because I see it. A natural learning curve.
Right.
That's a very good idea.
She is intelligent. She's pretty serious. It would be fun for her to learn what fun is. Because when I think about it personality-wise, I think of it as like a space marine who's loyal to the corporation. She worries about nothing and knows only war, so to speak. That was her life. But now that is over, that's going to be an existential crisis for an artificial intelligence.
Very cool.
And there are some plot twists and stuff in there that relate to the main story that, dude, I can plant Easter eggs for the main Scalpel Zero story, the Apex Predator story, in another comic book in another universe with a character that's not her because, it does relate though. And there are some spoilers, especially if it comes across and I don't want to talk about this publicly. I'll talk about this with you privately because I don't want to ruin it for the audience.
Don't drop any spoilers. Don't drop any spoilers.
You know how's the old phrase goes? More than meets the eye.
Okay.
Cool, There's more to it. There's more to it. You can put on your tinfoil hat.
And before we end the stream, we need to hear from Ben Phelps about his IP Celerity of the Huntress.
Where's Ben?
He's on here, isn't he?
Well, hello there.
I don't see. Hold on, I don't see Ben. Hold on. Lord Sandwich, that's you?
Indeed,
Ben?
it is.
The master of your sandwich.
The master.
You gotta make sure there's bacon on that sandwich, by the way.
You sound like Bane.
Well, yes.
Are you done with that sandwich?
They didn't care about my sandwich till I put on the mask.
until I slapped on the mayo.
You came into the sandwich. I was born into the sandwich.
But let us know what we're talking about. Celerity. Are we talking about Celerity? What character are we talking about?
That is definitely
Celerity, the fastest chick to ever walk the earth.
Well, I mean, I don't think she'll appreciate you calling her fast, but she's definitely a speedster.
Oh, yes. The inspiration came from a mix of different things. For one, it was...
that looks sick, man.
Yep.
It's designed by Carlos Villas right there.
Carlos Villas. Oh, he doesn't just do monsters then.
Oh, no.
Okay.
He does. We have two main designers. There's Carlos Villas, and then we have Chris Oak. And those two guys can do anything.
Okay.
Anything.
Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead, Ben. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Ben.
Oh, no worries. No worries at all. Kind of brought about through the destruction of awesome female characters in DC and Marvel, so kind of want to rub it in their face like a complete loser could do better than you. And a little bit of it was also inspired by the legends of the Babylonian succubus, and that is evident in her design. And also with Greg's input, we made sure that there is armor. It looks cool and it looks absolutely dynamic. She's basically an assassin hiding out on Earth who must face the ghosts of her past. And in this first issue, I believe, she'll be fighting an alien parasitic cephalopod. So that will be an interesting fight. But she is really fast, can go about 15, 20 feet in less than a blink, so pretty close to the speed of light, but not quite there.
Specifically, she's able to shift her molecules at near light speed from one location to another. The enemy that she's up against, what makes him interesting, is that it is a body thief. It can absorb knowledge from beings by inhabiting their bodies, and it can leap from body to body, and it keeps a collection of powerful alien bodies in its base for it to access for different purposes. There's like
putting on clothing.
Yes, there's an amphibious. There's an amphibious
wardrobe.
Yeah, there's an amphibious body. There's one that has chameleon style ability, so it can blend in, like Predator.
That's sick, man.
There's one that is a brute, a really big, massive, powerful body. So it also steals bodies for whatever it wants, like whatever need. Like, for example, it spies on her by stealing the bodies, jumping into the bodies of people who are around her. And it's a really diabolical enemy. We didn't just want to have another speedster as her enemy. That's just overdone. Like a Reverse Flash kind of generic shit. We wanted something that was a massive threat, that would be a threat to everyone, including a speedster. And this sucker is a threat to anyone. Go ahead, Ben.
Oh, yeah. Well, let me kind of expound a little bit on the meat mechs, as we refer to them. It will take the abilities of said creatures that it has taken over, and it stores the genetic material so it can kind of keep a collection of powers. So let's say, some of the bodies have been destroyed. It can virtually 3D print a brand new alien body. So it can inhabit various different alien bodies with a mix of different abilities. So there's a little bit of customization. So if there's ever a game, when there is a game, you'll see a boss battle with that kind of customization. So that's partially why I was going that route. Another one of her abilities is that she has a devil's tail, and that sucker is pretty freaking sharp. So when she stabs someone, she injects a enzyme that basically liquefies organs, and she drinks it up. It's how she eats. It's how she stays alive.
So wait, she turns them into a milkshake, then drinks them up?
A milkshake. I drink your milkshake.
Yep.
Yeah, when the boys come to the yard, they don't get the milkshake they were expecting.
Yep, exactly.
She's got this crazy, like, wild straw. She got off these clowns in outer space that she murdered. I'm joking. What, no fans of killer clowns from outer space? Come on now.
So long.
Yeah, and if anybody notices,
so long.
if anybody notices any sort of similarity between her tail and Gunny's tail, you're going to see later on down the road why that is. We're not going to talk about it right now, but there's method to all of our design madness. So I'll just say that much. These characters, Gunny and her, do have something in common, which the readers will discover throughout both of their stories. But they're the only two characters we have so far in the universe that have those things in common out of the heroes, the roster of heroes we have. She's very special. She's got this hologram projector, which she uses for illusion. Now, originally, she was known as Eris or Iris, the herald of Hera, the wife of Zeus.
Yeah.
So she was created for this purpose, to be the herald and also assassin for Hera. And so she was a villain, basically a villainess for some time before she saw another way of existing, and realized that she was a slave and that she was being used, exploited essentially. Figured out she was intelligent, so eventually she had to have figured it out, anyways. But she breaks free of that slavery and then just starts learning how to be, over the hundreds of years, a few thousand years, becomes a hero eventually. So, but like Ben said, she has to face the demons of her past, because she did horrendous things as a weapon for Hera. You can imagine, right? Hera is very vindictive and vengeful and violent. She wants people smashed just for an insult, and an entire people wiped out just for an insult, things like
Galactic Karen.
Yeah,
the Greek gods were the worst.
Yeah, man, Galactic Karen. Like Ben said there. Like,
Galactic Karen.
Yeah. One of my characters, Celestian, the champion of Earth, he also, in his storyline, had a lot of trouble with Hera, and that tied his story in with Celerity here. But, she's really impressive character, I have to say. All this time, I had my doubts early into the project, and then the more we worked and the more ideas we threw out there and sifted through, I started going, man, this character is actually, wow, she's growing in it. Oh, and then like a month or two later, from thinking that, I'm going, this is one of the best characters in comics right now that I've seen out there that's coming out. I'm like, wow, she.
The design was already eye-catching and pretty cool. And then when you guys are telling me about it, the more and more you're telling me, the more and more I want to hear. The comics has lost that. You guys are bringing that back.
Yeah, what's fun about this character too is this armor suit you're seeing here. This is her original, this is like her antique armor set when she was a villain, right? Where we flash back to those points in her life, when she was this villain for Hera. You'll see her in that suit, but we have a more modern suit that's being designed right now, and you're going to be seeing. Yeah, we'll probably release that reveal either on Tank Stream or this one. We'll see like how many reveals we've got at the moment, to spread out.
Oh yeah.
But we're going to be revealing that pretty soon.
Yeah, so, this panel's always open to you guys.
I know it. It's beautiful. Man. I love this place, man. It's a really great, not just place to promote things or anything like that, but just bring people together of different types and talk about the real talk, man. This is a real talk place.
Yep. They
really
like
is.
You guys here. You guys should read all the comments. They like you guys here. They're like, bring them back. Like
awesome.
last stream.
Yeah, we pretty much like everybody we see here. We even like the guys that sit there and say the racist shit that none of us like.
Yeah, right.
Because they're bumping the algorithm up. They're helping out. Fuck it,
Yep.
man.
Well, I'll take it. Hate watch it all you want, and hate interact.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
We're not trigger babies. We can handle it. What the fuck,
Yep.
We're all men, except for the ones that are real women.
Yeah. Hold on. All right. So I gotta start wrapping this up. We have to keep them around 3 hours. Otherwise, YouTube kind of messes with the viewership. So it's 3 minutes, 3 hours, 12 minutes. So I have to start shutting it down. If you're in this page, or if you are catching the playback later on, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. If you're on any social media platform, go ahead and share a link to this video and share a link to this platform. Let's grow this channel. That way we get more brains in the room and we have more feedback, more ideas, and more people in general. The more the merrier. So I thank the panel that has already left and the panel that remains here, the wonderful gentlemen, creative souls I'm seeing right here on the stuff, and I love the artwork. Can you go back? Can you go back to that character design right there with the shields and all that?
Yeah.
Awesome. What's inside the shield there? Is that like med packs and other things? Like while he's holding with one hand, he can access the other stuff that's in there?
That guy is named Dima Turgenev. He's got an interesting story. He is our Russian, and that shield right there is his tools. He basically takes tanks apart. That and like basically what happens is that he literally shoves the shield down while the Hellions are giving him cover, so he can take a tank apart to get the valuable parts off and get it back. And as you can see too on his helmet, to show you how desperate it is, that's actually a German helmet he's wearing. That's a Stahl helm. And, and he just basically picked it up and just
that's what he found.
He just put a fucking red star on it and says it's Russian.
It's a Russian one now.
Yeah,
it's Russian now.
His
helmet is Russian now.
And Diva is the type of dude you want because we're having Chris Oak and I have fun with it because we basically said his whole phrase, "I will make it work." It doesn't have that. I will make it work. It says, "You give me bell and you give me 2 wheels. I will make you a fucking tank."
All right. Yeah, that is sick, man.
Yeah,
I like the clothing is very HEMA inspired, historic and European martial arts. The protective gear that I'm seeing a lot. I watch a lot of that sort of video and collect a lot of that reference, and I recognize some of that stuff. That's very cool. That's a very cool what do you call it? Design element to have there.
that's actually
Awesome.
a regular part of the Russian uniform. That's actually
Shit.
that basically their uniform was basically, because it was so cold, a Russian sleeping bag almost, because they had a lot of people in Stalingrad because the Germans didn't think of taking warm fucking equipment to Mother Russia, would literally lie down in a foxhole waiting for an attack and would die of hypothermia.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Okay.
and a lot of times too, they would go and they would just steal the kit off the fucking Russians. They had two. That's funny as shit because it was like, fuck, it's freezing, and they would go and I just know it's really interesting. I know we got if one day I'll talk about my World War II knowledge because I know you gotta wrap it.
No problem, man. And I try to stream every day, so if you guys can make it, that's great. If you can't, let me know what you want to plug, and I'll plug it in your absence. Just let me know what you guys want to do. You know what I mean? We'll try to stream every day, whether it's a long or short stream, just to have something consistent on the YouTube algorithm. That way, the platform keeps growing at a steady pace. But I'm glad you guys stopped by. Thank you, Greg Levitre, Tank Ferret, Dan World War Hell, Lord Sandwich, Paul Michael Roper. I'm glad you guys stopped by, and I have to shut this down in 5, 4, 3, 2, and broadcast.
And in broadcast.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for it to end, and it's still like no, you're not ending. Yeah, it's like no, you're not. We're ending now. No, you're not.
Ending.
Look at this. Look at
no ending.
Yeah, no and then, and then no and then.
No and then.
Here's what these guys did just now. Let me show you what they just did. I'm gonna tell on StreamYard's mommy what they're doing to me. Look at this. You see this shit right here? Having trouble connecting? Please check your internet connection. My internet connection is fine. Yeah, the stream is apparently StreamYard's decided that this stream isn't over yet, guys. Hold on, let me see.
We're doing something right.
Yeah, right. Streams are like, wait. Can you tell me more about Celerity again?
Yeah, we want to copy that for Netflix.
Oh, no. That would not be cool, man.
That's
They
normal
were
work.
release her with an Antarctic penguin.
It'll happen. You got to expect it. That's what they do. That's how they keep content going in the streaming services and also in film. They're out of ideas, so they go out in the indies and look at shit and snatch shit up, and
that's the one scary thing that I hate. That if we put something out there that it's very, very unique and it's eye-catching, they'll basically Disney us. You guys remember that The Lion King was
Kimba.
Originally it was was it something called Kimba the Lion
Kimba.
or something like that?
Yeah, Kimba the Lion. Yeah.
And then Disney's unscrupulous, shameless ass with their Simba. Like, you see, like I'm trying to understand, but it is what it is. Hold on, let me see. And they're like, no, you still can't end. Jesus, let me see if I can let me see if I reboot the page, if they'll let me end then. Give me a second, I'll be right back.
All right.
It's either that or I can show my face and break the camera.